Hello. Hi. We're live. We made it.
We've arrived. I'm sorry. We are literally late because of me. I am here and ready to discuss, but also strangely exhausted. I was saying to Sasha because I just came from Captain America Brave New World. It was quite a
Which is
world.
not your review of it, by the way, because you're like, I liked it.
I liked it. Yeah, I'm not exhausted from it. Wasn't like emotionally draining. It wasn't like I got out of that theater and I was like, ugh. Also, Duck is here.
Yes.
Uptown Duck
Joining
shuffling.
us.
He hurt his arm, so if he seems um not okay, that's why.
You
But
didn't fall on the ice, did you?
hurt
Like
his
so many
wing.
people have been falling.
No, he just had to shovel a lot of snow today.
Ah.
Yeah. The snowfall was extensive here.
Mhm.
It was over 20 centimeters for folks watching at home that might not be in the Great White North. And yeah, it was a lot. And Duck was shoveling. So that was
Mhm.
his life. Not
Yeah.
I. I didn't have to shovel. Not because Duck was shoveling for me or anything. He was just shoveling.
Well, you got your hair done, and I'm just like, I can't stop looking at it.
I did. It's very bright. It's very bright. So yeah, I'm still getting used to it myself, but I really like. I got like a bunch of highlights, so it's
Mhm.
like it's a lot, guys. It's so bright. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna try to not be distracted by my own hair. But how are
Oh,
you? We haven't talked in a million years.
yeah, it's been a minute.
I
Like, the
know.
thing is, the same. Like, busy as always, trying to keep up with everything. Like, you went on a trip, which is fun. So,
Yes, we did go on a trip. We went to London for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Vlogs will be on the channel at some point if you guys want to join our adventures. We went and saw Lucy
In 3 years, according to the timeline,
in
it's super cool.
3 years. Yeah, eventually. Eventually. The only problem is that because I talk about so many things, it's like people are always like when people have been asking me, were you watching the Star Wars series Skeleton Crew? Did you watch that at all, Sasha?
no, I didn't end up getting to it.
I was gonna say, you
Uh,
just switch subjects mid-sentence
well, because
while talking
that's
about a million things.
no,
Like,
but that's because people keep asking me about my Skeleton Crew review, and if I finish it, I'm like, I did, and I still want to talk about it. I know it's old now, but if you want to watch it, I still want to do it. It's on my list, guys, so that's coming
You need
soon.
to give it like
Thank
one of
you,
those, like, we
Steven.
still need to talk about Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, we still need to talk about this. Yeah.
mhm.
If you thought I forgot, like I need to do the like so I finally watched Skeleton Crew or something like that.
No, you've watched it. You're just taking your sweet time talking
I
about it.
watched it as soon as it came out. I'm still thinking about it.
You're processing.
hmm
Still thinking about Sweet Neil. Yeah. Yeah, you should watch it. I feel like you would probably enjoy it. It's very, very cute and very sweet.
It's basically Goonies in space.
That's what
Yeah.
everybody says.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's
I
basically that.
watching the first episode, like, and the setup for the premise, I was like, that's exactly what this is, 100%.
So, what about you, though, Sasha? What have you been watching, doing, living?
Catching up on a lot of things because sadly we were sick for a bit, and
Oh
so it's
no.
like
Everyone
we
was sick. It was one of
everybody.
those.
So it's
Oh,
like one of
wow.
those, like, everybody's down for the count type things. And so then
Hmm.
it took a while to catch back up. I'm still catching up. So basically now I'm catching back up on reading and getting back into the groove with all of the videos and stuff that I wanted to make. I recently did the Dick Tracy video, so catching up on Dick Tracy and
I
all of
need to
those
do a
fun
Dick
things.
Tracy video too.
hmm
You need to.
I
So many
need
people were like, I
to.
didn't even know that this Mad Cave comic was happening. So
Oh, yeah. So when that was initially happening, Mad Cave reached out to me and they sent me, I still have it, the little what do you call that when they send like the little preview ones? And there's
Ash
like
can.
the ash
cans,
can.
yeah.
Yes, they sent me a little ash can of it, and then I also got the digital, and then I also bought it when it was in the shop, because I loved it so much. It's actually like it's so good. We really need to talk about Dick Tracy. I know, and I feel like it's like a sleeper hit. Like nobody knows that it's happening.
No, it's like the people who
kind of
know
the same
about
with
it.
Energon universe a little bit,
I
actually.
feel like more people know about Energon, or maybe that's just because we're in the
Yes.
space. So
Yes,
we hear
well,
about
people
it a
in
lot.
this, I guess, like it's more people. I guess because because I get all sorts on the channel. Like I get people that are more casual, and I get people that are like more like completely in it. The people that are more casual, that are maybe they only do Marvel and DC, or they don't buy individual issues like each week or each month. There have been people that are like, I didn't know that they were doing new G.I. Joe. Is this different than the other G.I. Joe? And I'm like, yes. And Larry Hama's G.I. Joe
It's still going.
still going. If you want to read that, it's still happening. You could jump back in at any time. Still happening. So yeah, but yeah, Dick Tracy has been really good. Matt Cave has actually been cooking with some pretty good stuff lately.
Yeah, and they have more revival things coming down the pipeline, so it's gonna be
Yeah,
interesting, like
exciting.
Phantom and stuff. Alcidre, thank you very much. So glad to be able to participate in a live stream again. I'm still reading old Spider-Man comics. Current Spider-Man hurts my soul. Glad you're doing better. Where are you at? Are you keeping up with Spider-Man? Current Spider-Man?
I'm up to date.
You're up to date.
I've been reading, yes.
Yeah, and Duck has also been singing the praises, obviously, of Ultimate Spider-Man, which I would encourage. If you're not reading, I understand the frustration with some of the current Spider-Man. And I say this as someone coming out of the Zeb Wells era who is a Zeb Wells fan. I really like Zeb Wells, actually, usually. But if that is not your vibe, the main universe, Ultimate is where it's at.
That
From
was
what I've heard.
definitely in my like top 5 books of last year.
Yeah.
Now, Ultimate is a lot of fun. And it's continuing to be so. It's just still going strong.
Still going strong.
Yeah, it's just a consistently, like it's a pleasure read. Like every time I read it, I'm smiling. It's got nice little nods to things like Hickman always does. He loves his lore, loves his history and his callbacks. When oh god, what was it? When Peter wakes up one day and he's like, it's a brand new day. I was like, yes, I see you, Hickman. I know what you're doing.
Oh my gosh. And how is current Spider-Man, would you say? Duck, because I know we both got out of it.
Well, Sasha, have you been reading current Spider-Man?
During Zeb Wells, but you followed along with it at least.
I have not been keeping up as much. It's more like I'm dipping in and out at this point. It's like we're doing like 8 deaths and that kind of thing. I'm like, okay, like I'm back for now.
So
when they were like, so we finished this and now we're gonna do 8 deaths, I was like,
I think
I'm not coming back for that. I'm sorry.
It's a fun story, but at the same time, it's like I have no idea how many issues this is. I haven't looked at the solicit, so I don't know how long this is gonna go on for, and I feel like it's already been too long. It just it's a cool concept. It's like Spider-Man has been empowered by Doctor Doom, who's now the Sorcerer Supreme. He's been given like magical powers to fight the agents of Sidorak, because that's the deal.
That's the deal.
Strange and Sidorak made years before. That's like he had to fight the Sorcerer Supreme, or his agents had to fight the Sorcerer Supreme, and otherwise he would like take Earth. And so Doom is like, well, this is beneath me. Who's someone who cares too much about people? You, Spider-Man, empowers him. He's like, there, now you have the means to fight them. Do it or all your friends die. Bye. And then he just leaves. And I was like, okay, that's a cool premise, but it keeps going. And it's at the point now where Juggernaut has shown up.
Oh, and Gwen's gonna be coming back.
Gwen just got teased to be
She's
coming
gonna be
back.
they're digging her up.
Some people posted that in my community, because like I turned on the community beta so people can post like panels and stuff in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And somebody
You need
was
to do
like,
that.
"We're cooked, chat," and that was what they put. Was just
That's
that
literally what I
panel.
said to Amanda. I
Yeah.
said, Amanda, we're cooked.
Well, the one thing I was saying, although I'm like, okay, I guess it's that time again.
Well,
Time to dig up Gwen.
Well, yeah, I'm glad that they literally put the shovel in the tombstone in this one, because you're
Yeah.
just digging her up again.
Literally.
We-
But
we-
I was
we
saying,
dug
when
her
was
up
the
for
last time
AXE,
we
dug
did
her up
it?
for Clone Conspiracy.
Yeah,
we
Clone
dug her up for
Conspiracy.
Spider Gwen.
I don't think we count AXE though, because AXE was just like a moment. It
What do you
was
mean?
self-contained.
They teased the whole thing. They're like, "We're bringing back Gwen. You won't believe it. Look at this cover. There she is with a dead stare on
Yeah,
her
but
face."
she was only there for a second.
Common sense. Thank you very
Apologies.
much. We're actually answering it. How do you feel about 616 Gwen Stacy coming back to life again? I wish Marvel would give Anya new adventures. No Spider-Verse instead. Anya knows magic.
I think that would be so awesome, actually. I always feel like Anya is like, I don't know, just like pushed to the side so much.
doesn't
And
get
then they
as
also
much
changed
play.
her powers
I
as
feel
well.
I feel like the Spider Desk is constantly unaware of the characters who they are currently writing and who they could write. Because I remember during Zeb Wells' run at the end of Beyond, they were saying that there were too many Spider people, which is why they made
Spider Boy.
no,
Spider Girl?
No, they made Ben into Chasm because there's too many Spider heroes.
Then they made
And then they made Spider Boy and Spider Girl almost immediately after.
Although
like,
I have heard
awesome.
Spider Boy is good.
I have not
So.
been reading that, but I hear people say that it's cute and they enjoy it. But
It's
Yeah.
almost consistently in the top 25 highest selling books of each month.
it does feel like there aren't memos going around though. Like, but it feels that way across the board. Like it's not unique to Marvel. Alcedre, thank you very much. Love listening to you guys while I knit my blanket. Ultimate Spider-Man is the GOAT.
Yeah, there's only a few books from last year that I'd say would be better than Ultimate Spider-Man. But yes, thank you.
Stephen Turner, thank you very much. Gwen is after Jean Grey's nachos of dying and rising.
Gwen is like, it's my turn now. Yeah, I mean, I will say, I guess we'll see what they do with it. I think with reviving Gwen, it's always like, it depends on the approach. And I will say, at least with Gwen, different than Jean, I feel like with Jean like dies and comes back, dies and comes back. With Gwen, it's never really quite as like simple. I mean, not to say that Jean's reses have always been simple, but just that Gwen never really comes back in a permanent sense. So we'll see what they're doing with it. I don't think she should ever come back permanently.
I'm very curious how it's going to feel for people now that Spider-Gwen is running around in like the Spider-Verse and stuff, like whether that will impact how people feel approaching it in the comics or not. Because she's there, it doesn't entirely feel the same as when there's no Gwens running around. So I'm curious, will that have an impact on anything or not? Or are people just kind of burnt out of people coming back? Because I'm actually really starting to enjoy the books that are getting deep into themselves, like lore-wise again. Like one of the things I read today was actually the Green Lantern Corps one. So like, and that they're just going ham with like, we have all this lore now and Sorrow's a real character and he's having a villain.
Legitimate Sorrow Lantern now.
Well, they called him the emo lantern, which did make me laugh. So
that feels so both 2025 and like, I don't know, like 2006 or something, like all coming together. But that makes sense because I feel like Millennium is, coming back around. So emo lantern
it is
feels
like
right.
all that fashion and stuff. I'm looking down the street and I'm like, I should have kept all these clothes because it's all coming back.
Is Sinestro still a Red Lantern? That's the last time I saw anything from that
because so they just finished off with all of the emotions and now we're starting off with rebuilding the core and like everybody's there. Simon and like Jessica are having scenes together again.
Oh
it's like
is Joe there? Is Joe in
is
it?
there?
I need to catch. Okay, well, I need to read
everybody's there.
See, that's why I love the current Moon Knight run. Is there's a tight-knit cast of characters. Everyone matters, and when things happen that are added to the lore, they don't forget in the next issue.
Yeah, it's very
and it keeps carrying
consistent.
over.
One thing when it comes to Green Lanterns is they're doing a deluxe version of Far Sector. So right now that's a collection that's on my list.
It was like scratching her neck, like, you know, they have the mini one, right? Like,
well, because I
just get that one for now, right?
I
like,
loaned my trade of Far Sector to someone because they really wanted to read it, and of course I was like, you have to read it. I'll give you my copy. Read it. Have fun.
Mhm.
And then unfortunately I didn't get it back, which is totally fine. I'm actually cool with it
they
because
moved away
if people love a
Green
book
Lantern.
and they enjoy it and I loan it to someone and I don't get it back, I'm just like, honestly, job well done.
It's
I
gone
gave
to
someone
a good home, kind
it's
of
gone
thing.
to a good home, so I'm fine with that. But then I was trying to get a
Except
new
when
one
you're
and
like,
everyone was sold out.
I really
really
Far
need a copy.
Sector.
But that's okay. I'm gonna get a deluxe copy. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I hope with what we're seeing in the DCU, I hope we get to see like just maybe more Green Lantern stuff, and then everyone gets more into Green Lantern, and we see this kind of like
It would be nice to have like let
growth
it
of
have
the
a
fandom.
little
Little
resurgence
boost.
again.
Yeah.
Lizzie Kill, thank you very much. It is appreciated. Because it's just, I think Green Lantern's really cool, just in terms of all you can do with it and the potential for the different types of stories you can tell with it. And so it's nice to see it having fun, like again, and just really going for being like, yeah, we have this huge universe. Let's actually
Mhm.
play in it.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Like, Green Lantern Rebirth got me back into comics after a hiatus for a
mhm.
while. And I loved that entire John's run. I know there were a lot of people who were very, what's the word I'm looking for here? Jaded with the idea of like the different colored lanterns and like they're just doing it for merch. Like, what color lantern are you? I remember that whole debate was happening while that was going on. I was like, guys, I'm just here. I'm just happy to read these. I just want to read.
I mean, I feel like I like all the colored lanterns.
Yeah.
Sasha, do you like all the colored lanterns? Do we all like the colored lanterns?
I do. I always really liked them. I liked the idea that they were expanding the concept of the different types of. And I know there's lots of things you can nitpick about it, like some of these aren't emotions, or like some of these, like, you know. But then other people come in, they're like, actually, it's a spectrum, and like, you know, all of that kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
I think it opens up the types of stories that you can tell.
I agree.
And while it has the potential to be abused or be silly, I think you can do some really fun things with it. And I think what we're seeing right now with the Jeremy Adams stuff that's been built up is showing a way that you can play with it in a fun way. And like Sorrow, I really enjoy Sorrow, and I really think that it could have been a lot cornier than it was or is ultimately, even though I know some people still think it's really silly.
Yeah, never
But
forget Red Lantern Guy Gardner with the handlebars and the
We're-
long
Yeah, we
mullet.
were literally just talking about it.
Ezekiel, thank you again very much. Y'all been keeping up with Ryan North's Fantastic Four.
I started Ryan North's Fantastic
Mhm.
Four, and then we entered our year of not collecting Marvel and DC and focusing on indie for a year,
Mhm.
which was our New Year's resolution last
2
year?
years
2
ago.
years ago. Wow. That's how old FF is now?
Yeah.
Started
Yeah,
2
it's
years
just
ago.
been going.
Wow.
Yeah.
So obviously I have a lot of catching up to do, but I've been meaning to get back into it because one of the things that I really loved about that run when I started it is at the end of issue 1, Ryan North posted like obviously like his manifesto for
Yes.
what the goal was with it.
Mhm.
And I just felt it was so nice and it just felt so like classic, like this focus on
He's
wonder
stuck
and
to
adventure.
No, he's stuck to it too. Like what he said he was gonna do is entirely what
happening.
he has done with it. So it's like if
Yeah.
you vibe with the first issue and like what he said and stuff, then you're still getting that for
Yeah.
this one. Like for me, I dip in and out because like the Fantastic Four are like they're my favorite team, but I do wish there was just a bit more angst. And I'm not saying that because I need them to be at each other's throats all the time, but just
You just love
I've
the
been
angst.
no, I've just been
So.
rereading a lot of the classic arcs, and there's just a lot of there's lots of depth and stuff. Like while there's wonder and adventure, it's not all like silly, fun, you know, kind of things. And sometimes this run dips a bit into that for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I'm not as consistently like I'm here all the time every like week, you know?
Every week.
We're missing that 1 2-page spread of wet Namor walking in on Sue that says, Namor, my God,
I'm married.
Oh my gosh.
The kids don't know about thirsty Namor.
That was Namor. I think that was also when Remender was writing X-Men, And that's when he showed up and he's like, "Hello, Emma." And I was like, "Oh my
Yes.
god,
That was like the whole like
Yeah.
Namor likes blondes like era.
thirstiest Namor of all time." It was great.
Also, I saw Open Mike Eagle said was loving that FF run, but I fell off after Blood Hunt. So I'm still reading through Blood Hunt, by the way, guys. I'm not done Blood Hunt yet, but this is something I've been going through. And one of the things that I actually really liked about Blood Hunt is the FF stuff that they did with it. I think the FF stuff is so fun. And then I was like, man, I really need to catch up on this Ryan North FF. I feel like it's my run for this. But granted, I do feel like the wonder of sort of that approach is very much in vein with the type of stuff that I love to read and love that sort of lighthearted, fun approach.
It is a fun read. Like,
but it's
whenever I
also
pick it
good
up,
because
have
you
a good
can
time.
kind of
Yeah.
dip in and out of it as well, though.
Because
So it's
that's-
like you don't have to read every
Well,
issue.
that's also how
Feel
I
self-contained each story that I've read.
Yeah, that's also how I feel on the
So
other
far.
side of the spectrum, because that's like fun, family values. Well, this is like, how would you describe Conan the Barbarian? Because
The opposite of that?
So we can answer this from Fox Inc. Have you been
Oh, hey.
reading Conan?
Duck
perfect.
has been reading a
Yes,
lot of
Me
that's
other
good.
too.
Conan by Zeb Wells. I feel like that's very much a. I mean, yes, there's an overarching story that's been happening in it with the Black Stone and all that, but a lot of the adventures and just him just going off doing stuff is just like really fun, like old school comics.
No, I've really been enjoying Jim Zub's like work on it, and the last one I have is the last trade that they did, where it revisited like the Conan's first encounter with magic and having him question his faith and all of
Mhm.
that. And I was like, this is really interesting. And it feels like reading the old kind of pulp works because of the language and the like in it. I just really enjoy that. It's just fun to read.
Yeah, it doesn't dumb it down at all. It just embraces Conan as it is.
Mhm.
Funnily enough, actually, when we were going to Comic-Con last year, I was reading Conan on the plane,
Mhm.
and then somebody tapped me on my shoulder from behind and was like, "Hey, how's that? How's that book? Is that any good?" And I turned around, it was Jim Zub. I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, I feel like I'm getting critiqued now on how I'm gonna read this.
Yeah, I was saying to you when we were at the airport for that flight, I was like, we'll probably be on the flight with like some other like folks, like probably people that work in comics, because that's the flight that there's like a certain flight that I just know when we fly out of Toronto that like
Mhm.
this is the one that everyone
The
gets
early
on.
morning flights.
So it just means that like you'll probably run into people. And I was saying to Duck too that one of my friends is friends with Jim Zub, so I met him like a couple years ago.
And I remember saying like, "Oh, that's cool. I'm reading
And then
Conan."
yeah, he just happened to be sitting like right behind us.
And but I turned around and I was talking to him about it, and he was just like, "Yeah," he's like, "I read Conan as a kid. This is how I remember it, so this is how I want to write it."
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I think it's a great approach. He's also just such a nice like guy. Like
oh,
I mean,
really nice.
Yeah.
one of my
Yes,
favorite things
yeah.
about comics usually, like all of the comic creators that I've met and had the fortunate opportunity to meet or interact with are so like nice artists and writers that I've met thus far, and publishers even, like they're just so friendly and they're just so excited about like sharing stories. It's awesome.
Mhm. Common Sense is saying that we still have some missing lanterns in Sodom and Raker. There's still there's still time. Give them time. You saw how big Room was.
This reminds me of people asking about Absolute. There's a lot of people that ask me like, and I'll ask this to you guys. When do you think we're gonna have a Absolute like Justice League? Like when is everyone gonna get together?
I hope we never do.
I want things to
Personally.
take a while.
Yeah.
I'm on the train of I would like things to build up for quite a while and let everything get a sense of itself. I feel like if it were to do, like, let's say it was like next year, like it's 1 year, they're forming the league, I would feel like it was too soon. I also
agree.
feel that way about any kind of crossover. I'm like, I want breathing room. But
I
I'm
like when people build the blocks, because then it means
Mhm.
when we get to the story, it's like really meaty.
And
So
I
I'm like a
know-
slow burn, slow build, and then when we get there, it's like epic.
I told Amanda, I know it's inevitable. There will
Yes.
be the main continuity versus absolute continuity
At some
crossover
point.
at some point. But like we'll get there. But at the same time, I'm really enjoying just the 3 main books right now, exploring not only the character but the settings that they're in, and each one feels like they're tackling a completely different problem, and they all scale like it in rapid. I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. Just like it, like you have Wonder Woman with magic and like a world-ending threat. Superman dealing with like the proletariat, and you got Batman just trying to live in a city. But
Batman
then
just dealing
these guys
with
in
Black
mask showed up,
Mask.
and he's like, "Well, guess I gotta maim and hospitalize all of these men."
That's how it goes sometimes.
But I'm like, each one has its own flavor, and each one is unique, and I love them as they are, and I really don't want to see them interact with each other right now.
Open Mike Eagles asking what we thought of the Ray to Grey Malkin crossover.
Read it.
I haven't.
2 days ago, Amanda's like, I'm finally going to read it. I'm reading Grey Malkin. I was like, you never will.
Then I read Laura Kinney Wolverine. Okay, so my problem right now with X-Men comics is like,
we were talking about this a bit before we started. Yeah, you were like, so how do you feel about the amount
of comics? Because I'm feeling overwhelmed. Yeah. That's how I'm feeling.
I'll jump in for 1 second just because I have very little to contribute to this.
You read Grey Malkin though, didn't you?
Yeah, because I was reading X-Men and I was not enjoying X-Men, so I was like, I'm gonna drop it. But everyone on Reddit is talking about this Grey Malkin thing,
I know,
so
I gotta read it. So I can join the discussion.
read it and I went, oh my god, and then told Amanda, I was like, we need to drop this right now from the pull list.
Yeah, X-Men though.
I'm out.
You didn't tell me to drop Uncanny.
I am out.
But I have heard some people have come to me with their concerns even about Uncanny and Grey Malkin, and I haven't read it yet, so I can't fully confirm anything. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I was enjoying Uncanny before Grey Malkin. I hope I will still be enjoying it after, but if not, there's always Exceptional X-Men, which might end up actually being my favorite of the three main titles, maybe, depending on how Grey Malkin goes. If it's as bad as people say it is, Exceptional might be the one.
Have you read it, Sasha?
I have not. I have dropped most of the like main X books just because I am in the camp of they're too much. And so when that happens, what I usually do is I try and categorize like what am I going to talk about, and then I can come to it when it's finished and like get the trade or do a chunk and then figure it out from there. Like the one thing I'm reading right now is I'm reading like Rogue and the Savage Land because that was something I wanted to discuss.
I want to read that too. So what are you thinking of that? Because I saw that you picked that as the thumb when you shared it, and I was like,
script for it today.
I want to read that so bad. So how's that coming?
It's so we've got one issue, Time of Streaming, so far to discuss, and it's I'd say it's interesting. And what I had a complete like nerd moment where I had to go back and reread Uncanny X-Men 269.
Okay.
Because it has a mention of issue 247, but ignores issue 269. And issue 1 is largely a retelling of issue 269. And so I went, so now I need to compare and contrast these two, and then also check, is this supposed to be one of those hidden secret stories that you never read before? Or is it just kind of set loosey-goosey in the era? Because there are some details that just don't align. Right. That kind of, they're not to the point where this is a completely different thing, but there are just some moments where I'm like, okay, but that happened in issue 274. Why would that happen if this happened here? And I just kept having that like as I was reading it. It wasn't bad at all, isolated in a bubble, but as soon as I started attaching it
to the history,
the canon where it was supposed to slot in, it started being kind of like, okay, well, there's some incongruities. That doesn't mean that it's going to be an like unenjoyable experience, but it's just something that I'm noticing. So
yeah, that's interesting. Oh, I'm very curious to check it out.
I feel like that's a problem.
Makes me want to read it more.
Like, X-Men insert time period here.
Well, I mean, it really depends. I mean, who's doing the Rogue Savage Land?
Tim Seeley.
Okay.
Tim Seeley, yeah.
Because I do feel like some of the stuff where Larry Hama has gone back. I read his one of his like Wolverine sort of stories, and that I felt actually fit in pretty well because it was just like this is during a period.
Well, I was gonna say, here's the thing with Larry Hama is that a lot of the time he wrote the story that he's going back to revisit.
Yes, so there's
because he was there.
Yeah,
he was on the ground floor.
Yeah.
It's also really funny because I got to get quotes, which is always one of my favorite things, because there was some drama about this because it came out, you know, a little after we had X-Men 97 and the Magneto Rogue thing and people having strong feelings about that. And so there are lots of like, is this series gonna, I don't know why I'm holding like a microphone, they're tweeting, but it's just like, is this series gonna do this? And he's all like, not really. But then I read the first issue and I was just like, I'm like, I don't care either way, but also, you know?
It's like, why wouldn't you just say that maybe it will? Maybe like, you'll have to see.
Maybe, you know, we'll see. We'll have to see where the rest of the issues go. But Dante Cook, thank you very much. I like the way X-Men is right now. As an amateur X-Men reader, it's nice to pick stories with just the characters I know and like.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's reasonable.
That's the best way to approach comics in general, is just pick the things that you like, read it, and enjoy it. We are all, no offense, but we're all old, jaded comic book lovers.
Look.
We were there when the tomes were written.
I think you're one of the most jaded of us all, so don't lump me in with you.
I started reading in the 90s.
Right.
And then I saw what was there before me.
Yeah.
I said, why me? Why this era?
Right. But we also have a different approach to 90s comics.
I know, you love 90s comics.
I love 90s comics.
Yes, anyway, back to the main point. If you find something and you like it, doesn't matter what anybody else says. Just read it and enjoy it.
And I do think, like, when we were talking about, like, sort of the character miniseries and the ongoing series and how many there are, the one thing that I do like about those solo titles is that it does make it a lot easier. Like, if you've always been interested by Psylocke and you're like, I don't know, I've never read, what do I do? It's like there's a Psylocke series happening. If you love Storm's going on. If you want to get into Jean Grey's stuff, that's all happening. And the teams are all together, so we've got a lot of different teams, so depending on which roster of characters you like, there's a lot of options. I love all that, and so I love that for new readers. I just wish
the only thing though is that if you
didn't feel
really
like I wanted to read everything.
The thing is, if you get really attached and then it's a mini, you still run into that problem. Some people will just jump to the next thing, but there are some people who need some shepherding as to like, you know, like, where do I go? Like, what's the next good thing? And sometimes when you just have the mini like that, it's not always the easiest to know exactly where to hop to next. Oh, Stephen Turner has a question for us. Thank you very much. Did you guys see Lucas Wernick is the new main cover artist for Phoenix's next arc and still doing interiors for Storm? He's become a star artist for Marvel. Phoenix is getting a new interior artist too. Are you keeping up with Phoenix?
I'm behind on Phoenix. I need to catch up on Storm. This is the problem. I just finished Dazzler, guys. That's where I'm at. I know I'm behind.
I did a quick peek through as to what's going on with Phoenix, and that looks insane.
Yeah, I know I need to catch up.
I don't know if it's I'm gonna like this insane, but I was seeing pages and I was like, what is this?
I think there's a lot of cool stuff happening in Phoenix from like just like checking back in with it. I just need to like sit down and actually read all of it. Same thing with Storm. Psylocke, there's stuff that I like and stuff that I don't like. Wolverine, I just read issue 1. With that one.
You're not sure?
Dazzler, I loved how it started, hated how it ended. But it was also only a 4-issue mini, which, like you said, that is the problem with minis. So, but I do like Lucas Wernick, and I'm happy to see. Oh yeah, Magic.
The cover.
We were talking about this before. I don't know if my camera will focus. It wants to focus on our faces.
I don't know if it can. It's like it's too much.
It's too sexy. It's too much for the camera. But yeah, I just picked up issue 2, which I haven't read. Let's take a peek. Oh yeah, the art is still stellar in this, man. The colors. Who's doing colors on this book? Arthur Hesley. These colors are insane. I don't know if I'm familiar with Arthur Hesley's stuff. I need to like look them up and just like now look at everything that they've done. But yeah, issue 1 for Magic was really, really good. So hopefully issue 2 continues that. My one thing is that I feel like all of these solo books are like, well, except for Phoenix and maybe Storm. So not those two.
So not all the books.
So not all the books, but a lot of the ones that I've been reading lately, Psylocke, Wolverine, Magic does this too. Dazzler doesn't do it. So not all the books, okay. But the ones I've been reading lately are like, here, I'm going to go off and do a thing. Someone needs to be saved. I will save that individual. And then it sets me on a mission. Which I understand that's also just how superhero stuff goes. But it feels a little random where some other people are like Dazzler, we were following her on like
the tour.
her world tour, which is very like in with Dazzler. With Phoenix, it's all about, her cosmic adventures, which is like something that we never really get to explore as much, I find, in the comics.
Also,
so
hanging out with Cyclops' dad more than Cyclops hanging out with his own dad.
yeah. Just Jean making Scott jealous of all her space adventures, basically. And then with Storm, I mean, Storm's on like her own mission that feels very like global, like it's big. So everything else just feels kind of small in how it starts and kind of like, I don't know, just make them save someone in danger and then mission happens. It feels like a D&D campaign. That's how they all feel to me. Like Wolverine, I just read it. So she's at the tree house and she finds a note in like the tree house in New York, which obviously now is like a big monument after Krakoa because the X-Men aren't there. And there's just like, I don't know, like a hollowed out piece of wood, and she like moves it and then she's like, oh my gosh, a note where someone needs help. And I'm like, is this a place that you always knew about? Or is this, did I miss something? Let me know if I missed something, chat, because if I did, I apologize.
Well,
but
if you did, it felt very there should be an editor's note.
Exactly. So she just finds this note and then she's like, I'm on a mission to like save this random mutant that I don't really know anything about them. I just know there was a girl that was upset that was here that was a mutant. And off I go on the mission. Which, sure, I mean, she's a hero, I guess. But what's the personal, like, buy-in? And so I guess that's kind of the thing that I'm feeling with some of these, is that some of them feel like they're very based in who the characters are, and then some of them feel like, I don't really know who this character super is, so we're just going to give it a thing, and I have an idea of who the character is thematically that I'm going to explore through these one-off adventures.
More kind of generic type fare?
Yeah, which also, to be fair, though, might be very good for new readers. So maybe I should just hold my tongue. I don't know.
I mean,
Tim McCabe is asking, is the Marvel rival story getting comics like Injustice did? The answer is yes.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
It has begun, I believe, Marvel Rivals comics.
I'm pretty sure there was a scene between Namor and Jeff where he's like, don't you want to, like, conquer these filthy land animals? And Jeff's like, yeah.
Yeah, the Marvel Rivals comic, it's on Infinity, right? It's on Marvel Unlimited. Is it an Infinity comic?
No,
so.
there's like
There's physical.
Yeah,
there's physical? How did I miss this?
They did like an
copy.
announcement a while. It kind of, I think, got buried in between all of like the skin announcements and stuff.
Oh,
that they were
okay.
doing, but it was there.
So they printed it? It's in shops?
It's in shops. I saw it.
I just wanted to show off.
You got your Jeff cover for Scarlet Witch?
Yeah, for Scarlet Witch.
Actually, you weren't even there.
I wasn't here. Duck got it for me. I didn't even say.
I had the list of things I needed to pick up.
I didn't even say. It was like after Duck was like, what cover do you want for this, by the way? And I was like, didn't answer. I was busy. I didn't see anything. And then after I was like, oh no, did you get me this cover? Because that's the one I wanted. Oh no, did they have it? And he was like, that's exactly what I got.
Of course he got that one. Like, you know.
Knows exactly.
Scarlet Witch Hugging Jeff by Peach Momoko.
That's like,
how am I going to avoid
how that? Many things that I love can you put on one cover? It's beautiful. Piece of art. I'm going to frame it. I need Peach Momoko to sign that one.
That would be really sweet.
Next. Yeah. Whenever she comes to North America next, I'll have to go wherever she is and be like, sign this.
Jason Usher, thank you very much. Been catching up on Demon Days and Wars as I'm a new fan of Peach Momoko's artwork and storytelling. Want to treat this as my X-Men reintroduction. Then you should also check out the Ultimate X-Men. You'll probably enjoy that as well.
Oh, are you in for a treat?
I love Demon Days and Demon Wars though. I have them in individual issues, and then I also have a collection of both of them. They're so good. I just love Peach's like approach to the lore of the world. And I know she doesn't necessarily acknowledge herself as a writer all the time, but I just think she's just got such a unique vision that she brings that's just really, I don't know, it's really cool. And especially someone that's like, even if you're like a fan and you know all the stuff, there's always something new in there for you, which I like.
I can't remember which one it was, but it was part of like the Demon Days saga. But it's the one where Psylocke fights the Venom symbiote. And somebody on Reddit replaced the words.
That's Demon Days.
Yeah.
Replace the words?
Yeah, on one of the pages of Psylocke with giant Venom behind her. And she's like, leave my big boyfriend alone. He's very sensitive.
I also like
that's all I know.
How the Hulks are like Onis in it. And I think that's really cute. I think they're Onis. What? There's X-Men Peach. Oh, I did see the kimono variant covers. Yes,
I'm pulling it up for you.
I did see them. They're so good. I know. I was like, oh no, I need all of this. And it's probably not going to be easy to
This
find.
is why people are getting into like fights. They're like, we got to get these covers.
I know, but my favorite thing about Peach is that it's like kind of hit or miss. So some people like obsess and like need them like I do, and then other people are like, I don't care about this at all.
Which is good because you get a better chance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People are divided on it.
Ezekiel, thank you very much. I just got the current Scarlet Witch run by Orlando. So good.
It's so good. I'm so glad. Yeah, I love Orlando Scarlet Witch. It's so fun. And I also just love that it brings in Kat Dennings' character from the MCU, Darcy. I love Darcy Lewis. She's one of my favorite MCU characters. So it's really, even though it's weird and she's a reporter, but whatever. As long as it's Darcy, I don't care. She could do whatever job she wants. She could be a reporter.
You'll take slightly alternate universe Darcy.
That's fine with me. And I love that she just like works with Wanda in her magic shop in the original series. It's just a lovely time. Honestly, Steve Orlando Scarlet Witch is just a woman who's like, yeah, I've done some stuff, but like I'm coming through it. Is so rewarding as a Scarlet Witch fan, because for years it just felt like we were repeating the same, like, oh, I got rid of all the mutants, so I have to feel really bad about everything forever. Yeah.
You know, not some that people Wanda still want that though. They're just like, she needs to feel bad forever.
I know, but it's just one of those things. I mean,
the Bendis fanboys, the lash.
Obviously, as a Wanda fan, I know I'm gonna have my own feelings on that. But I do feel that it's often unfair because there are other characters that just get off the hook for doing terrible things, and we never like. Iron Man gets off the hook for a lot of stuff. He's done a lot of bad stuff. We don't talk about.
What do you mean?
Carol.
Everyone's done
a lot of bad stuff. Yeah.
Name a single person who hasn't done something deplorable at this point in the comics book history.
So many people.
I'm sure we could think, but now we're gonna blank because it's all like, come on, chat, give us some people who haven't destroyed the universe.
Yeah, give us some people that have never done something that's deplorable.
And deplorable is a good word because that leaves us some space to play in bad and like slightly like off, but like deplorable, super
deplorable, super bad. And yet there are many people out there that have done very terrible things that we just don't bring them up because they're heroes. So.
Jeff the shark.
Jeff. Jeff is an adorable baby shark.
You say that now, but you haven't seen a 6-person Jeff Alt off the side of a cliff.
Oh my goodness!
So that's a war crime.
Jeff did have his knife. That's a thing. Jeff is a little monster. So
didn't Jeff stab Rogue or Carol?
Yeah. Well, I think there's a scene where he's in a sword fight scaring Storm. Isn't that a thing that happens?
Oh, he stabbed somebody.
Is that in the Rivals comic? Where is that? Look that up.
Jeff.
Yeah, definitely.
I need to know who Jeff stabbed.
Yeah, I need to know.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting watching the characterization of Jeff develop over the years because, I mean, Jeff is basically a monster. It started off as being pretty cute when Jeff is with Gwenpool, and then with Elsa is kind of very scary looking.
Well, there he is with his knife.
There he is with his knife.
I'm getting closer.
Yeah.
I'll find it.
I love him with his knife. So, you know.
If he stabs somebody, it will be there. So
yeah. But we have to forgive Jeff because Jeff's a cutie. But Wanda can never be forgiven. She needs to atone forever.
Common Sense is asking, Sasha, are you going to do a 1 year for all the Ultimate comics, including Black Panther and X-Men? You think Demon Days is part of Ultimate X-Men? No, I don't think so. I think it's its own separate thing. And in terms of retrospectives, we shall see. I need to do retrospectives on the Absolute books because my problem is always, and I'm sure you may have this problem too sometimes, is I go in with the intent of this time it's going to be succinct and short and sweet. And then there's just so much that I want to talk about that it ends up being longer than anticipated initially.
You want to tell Sasha about your new series?
I'm doing a series on One Piece.
Oh my, you're doing it.
I'm doing
You're doing it.
I'm on volume 15 right now, guys. I just started One Piece last year. And I've been reading, I mean, slowly, obviously, because I don't just read One Piece. I read many things and try to also keep up with a million shows. And yeah, I did just film the other day my volume 1 review.
So you're going to tackle it in volumes? Is that how you're going to do it? Volumes,
well, I was going to do 2 volumes in one video. But my video was 48 minutes raw. So
wow.
That was my raw time.
That's a video.
So I'm hoping that it can probably be edited down to like maybe around 30-ish minutes. And my goal is for volume 2, I'm going to make notes and then kind of revise my notes a couple times before I go in to film it. It's always interesting. We've talked about this before, but it's always interesting because I was thinking about doing it like fully scripted, but I just really like
the free
talking.
Form?
I like the free form, and I feel like I like the conversational nature that I have more when I'm going from notes or just from my mind and like preparing sort of what I want to talk about and then just doing it. So I think I'm still going to go from notes. And I'm also going to be going through now and putting my Post-its in so that later, like when I finish a volume, I can take the Post-its, go through, make the notes. And then when I get to that volume, I can review my notes and edit them a few times.
And
then
I'll still be editing this 48
and
minute
you'll still be editing volume 1. But yes, so I don't know. I'm hoping that we can do maybe 2 volumes in each video in the future at least. But the other thing is volume 1 does have a lot in it. So... and it's important. It's the beginning of the story. So I have no regrets.
You're taking on quite the endeavor there.
I know. Duck was like, if you do 1 volume for every video, that's fine. It's just you're going to be doing this forever. And I'm like, I know. I'll be like getting my cane out like, hello, it's time to talk about the next volume.
When did you start reading House of M, by the way?
House of M is the comic book club I've been doing on OF, and that's been going since last year. But we do 2 issues a month. That's why. This month, I think we're going to do 3 issues so that I can get it finished off a little. It's a lot of issues. It's big. It
is big.
Yeah, 2 issues a month for a giant crossover event with every single issue. It felt like that was a lot.
But I read a lot of comics in a month. That's my problem.
What was the thing? What was the estimated end date? 2027?
I was saying by the end of this year we'll definitely be done. But if I do
before you changed your plan.
No, not before I changed my plan. If we did 2 issues, I'd be done by the end of the year, okay? But if I switch to 3 issues, we'll be done by the summer. And then we can do another one. But we're also going to hopefully be having a comic book club starting soon on my Patreon. I kind of had a false start on that, and I'm hoping to get back to that and catch back up. So
I'm catching up on the book club as well, just because we got so sick, and so it's like can't post, can't do anything, and now I'm like, we'll have to do double to like
Yeah,
catch
were you
up
doing
with it.
birds? Were you doing Birds of Prey, or did I dream that? What were
No,
you
I
doing on
did
your book club?
Gotham City Siren.
Gotham City. Sorry,
You're close.
yeah, yeah, I'm in the realm, but a totally different team. Gotham City Sirens, right, right. Is that the newest one with Punchline being a hot tub streamer?
No, we did the first arc, the Union.
Oh, ooh, that's
So
fun.
like, because the way
Ooh,
mine works is we just like I try and get a trade, something that is in print or something like that. Because sometimes I've had like in the past, I wouldn't check and I was like, I'm sorry, it's out of print. So now I make sure that it's in print and
yes.
we vote and whatever comes up, we talk about. I think the last one we did was something is killing the children. Like, so we've been doing
Yeah,
some fun stuff. So I'm hoping that, anything I put, I want to talk about, but I
yeah.
am leaning. I hope people vote for Conan. Like, I'm going to put the
So
vote
do
up
you
tomorrow. So
do a volume like per discussion then? Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, cool, cool,
yeah.
cool. Maybe I should do that. That might be.
Oh, it's almost like that's a crazy concept.
It makes it a lot more accessible, which I
Oh.
like. Yeah.
It gives you also a lot to hop around to. Lizzie,
Yeah.
Kill, thank you very much, is asking, have you guys been reading the EC Comics relaunch? I have.
I
I've
have.
been
Duck
keeping
also
up
has.
with the relaunch. It varies in terms, like, issue to issue and like what genre they're in, but I really am enjoying it just in general. They seem to be having a lot of fun with it, and I'm just happy to see like them really trying to get back into the vein of the EC works.
Yeah, I've liked all three so far.
Hmm.
But I think my favorite, the most consistent one for me has been Cruel Universe.
Same, I was gonna
Mm.
say.
Yep.
Cruel
Like just
Universe.
overall those stories, I find there's less variance. Like
Mm-hmm.
Shiver has some that like I really like, and then others where I'm like, no, not so much.
Yeah.
So, and now they're starting the fantasy one, so there's just
Cruel Kingdom.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
Which is taking the place of
Cruel Universe.
Cruel Universe became Cruel Kingdom. Yeah. I haven't read anything. So.
Yeah, I thought Cruel Universe, the
I've been
science
reading
fiction
Creepshow,
one,
so.
was definitely the most consistent and the most fun. Cruel Kingdom, I know 2 just came out, but only read issue 1 so far. I liked the first story. I liked 2 out of the 4. Let's just say that. I can't remember what the meant, but
bless you.
I thought it was about
thank you.
50-50, so not bad.
Oh, someone was asking if your coffee includes a Discord server. Do you have a Discord server, Sasha?
I do not, nor
should
would
have a
I,
Discord.
for I would
What?
have no time to mod or like pay attention to it. I know I wouldn't.
You could get help modding.
You have no time.
Well,
You have no time for anything. 2
I'm not
issues a
saying-
month.
I'm saying
for
there's
the
probably
book club.
lots of people in the Casually Comics community who are capable, lovely mods that would probably assist you. I would assist you with the eyes that I have and the time that I have, which is limited. But yeah, Discord communities are just so fun.
I have very little trust for people, and I've
Fair.
and you
Fair.
you and I, all of us have been on forums where you've seen things go awry. So it's
Yes, and
I'm
I
like,
mean,
I don't need that in my life. I don't need to
you
be
do
worried
have
about,
to
like,
think
it's gone
about
awry.
the security of the Discord and all that stuff, which is something that, even we've thought about with my Discord.
That's
and
why when I set up
yeah.
the Discord, it's like.
But it is a lot to manage. You're not wrong.
It's like, because I'm already
can't
doing
deny.
so much that like that's honestly why I turned on the community feature, because I'm like, I know people want to post stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's fun and I can see it. I can, if there's anything crazy, I can hold it or do all that stuff from my phone. So it's like that's nice, small, contained. It's on the platform I'm already on. I'm like, I'm already on so many things, Blue Sky.
Have you
and
been
all those other
finding it
things.
good? Because I was looking at vidIQ did some videos on that feature, and I was hearing that they were saying like they found it like kind of overwhelming. Although they think it's a cool idea.
Knock wood. It's been working out for me so
For
far.
the best. That's
the
good.
time of
Yay.
streaming.
Yeah.
Lit. But I've had some people in the comments of that actually say they've been like, this is the only one I've seen that's like this. They're like, some of the others are just madness and memes and all kinds of stuff.
Chaos.
So,
Yeah.
chaos. Yeah.
That's my fear with that, because like I feel like it's a really cool feature, and I like the idea that it's basically like a little community board, which is what community should be.
it's what
but
it used to be like
It
way
scares
back
me to
in
trust
like
people.
the day.
Yeah.
Well, you do have the option.
Everything
I
was
don't
coded
use
to
this.
do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's like I don't use this option, but you do have the option to hold everything if you want and like approve everything.
And then you could just approve it. It's just like then that will take you time to
that realize madness.
But I mean, you know, they have filters and things to protect all of our communities, I would assume. So yeah, I think it's a cool idea. I like it. I like that they're basically like, but what if we were Reddit? YouTube's like, what if every channel was basically a subreddit? I'm like, that's a wild idea, but I kind of like it. I kind of like it.
Those things where I'm like, if it goes awry, I'll just turn it off. So far, it hasn't. So.
Yeah, that's good. Have you guys been reading Ghost Machine stuff?
Yes, I'm a bit behind. I do need to catch up on my Ghost Machine, but I've still been enjoying it very much. I dove into a bunch of stuff that I fell behind on, which was like Powerpuff Girls and those kind of things. Like there was the Valentine's Day special that came out, so I did the Powerpuff Girls ones. The Dick Tracy one just came out, so I caught up on the
Valentine's special.
There is a Dick Tracy Valentine's special.
Oh my god! Of course.
I'm not done, but I was informed he fights a demon, so.
Now I gotta read that. I mean, there's a lot of good Valentine's Day specials out.
When you get back down there, tell Valentine Dick says hi.
Yeah, I still need to read Rook Exodus.
You do. Rook Exodus is a good time.
I know, but I've been reading a little bit of Rocketfellers, which I liked, and I've been reading a little bit of Hyde Street, but I'm not caught up on the. I read the Hyde Street.
You read Devour too, right?
Devour, and I think did I read the Christmas special?
I don't know.
I read specials.
You bought it.
I haven't.
don't know if you read it.
I think I read it. I'm trying to. It's hard because I'm also reading Creep Show, so like everything blends together. All my horror stuff, but sometimes I have notes. I've been taking notes this year, Sasha, so that next year I can actually do a top and worst comics.
Yes.
I didn't know how to organize it. So right now I've just been doing every single issue of something I read, including manga.
I'll give you the conversation that was had initially when Amanda pitched, should I do a top 5 best comics? I was like, well, what would you even have on there? Immediately, House of M.
No, I didn't say House of M.
You said one of the House of M comics that you had in there, and I was like,
look it up right now.
Well, that's not
you.
20.
No, you can't say this.
You gave a book that wasn't from 2025, and you were like, well,
yeah,
I read it
Amanda
last year.
and I were discussing this though.
We were discussing how to do it, and I said to Duck, I said, well, how should I do it? Because like, does it count if I read it that year? And he's like, well, you can decide what it is. And I was like, well, if I read it that year, I'm just going to write it down.
Because I feel like the people want things that came out that year. So I'm kind of like, I feel like I need to give the people what they want, which is like comics.
Right. But it's your list, Sasha. So you can do what you want. I love you people that are watching
Amanda's
the stream.
top films of 2025. Casablanca.
Do you want what you want, or do you want to watch what we want to give you? Because that's what you really want.
And at number 2, Jurassic Park 2025.
House of M. Soft comic of 2025. No, but I've been recording everything because I think you could also do a few videos. Like you could do it like the top comics of 2025 that came out, in 2025. And then you could also do like my favorite comics that I read this year or something like that, where you just talk about just everything that you read and be like, this didn't come out this year, but I just want to take this opportunity to highlight something. Because it's nice to talk about the new hotness, but sometimes because of that, some of the older stuff gets lost in the shuffle.
Sometimes in at number 3, Godfather.
I know, and I also have one for novels and audiobooks, which I don't know if I'm gonna.
Jeez. Oh, that's a whole other world.
I know.
What
that's
are
a
you
whole
doing?
other world.
I haven't seen this side of the spreadsheet. What is this?
I don't have House of M in my top 5 right now. You're telling lies.
You'll be dead if you do all of this.
Stop. You do take on so much.
Oh, sorry. Black Panther number 7 from 2005.
That's not in the top 5.
Okay, bottom 5. I said it was top or bottom.
So wait, it's not bottom. This is the bottom. Dazzler number 4 is the bottom right now.
It's its own special slot.
Dazzler number 4 is right now at the bottom of my list so far this year, guys. And it came out technically, that comic, this is the other question, and we were talking about this. Some comics obviously start in a different year. Some comics have been going on for years. But if they are happening this year, do we count them as 2025 or does it depend when they start?
They had their chance.
I kind of am with like they had their chance. We gotta
Right.
They can have a mention.
So just the ones that
good.
started in 2025.
Because then you could do best ongoing.
Yep.
Right.
You know, which is
See, but that's what I mean. It's multiple videos. Best ongoing, top 2025. Just books that I read. They're from any year. Who knows?
That's why when I
out.
kind of sort of did it, I did it as a stream.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if it was
smart.
a video,
Please.
I would still be editing it.
Just
like
film them all. Duck will edit it. No problem.
Oh
Best
my God.
ongoing.
It would be like, because like Angry Joe does a bunch of lists, and I noticed they come out like they're still coming out in February because they're
Wow.
videos. So I'm like,
Right.
that would be me. That if
Yeah.
I did it this way, that would be
Mhm.
me. That would be my future. So I feel like streaming is a good way to do it. And then also I like the streaming because you get kind of the interactivity of the audience, like saying what they read or what they didn't read and those kind of
Yeah.
things.
That's true. It's like a dialogue, which is
Yeah.
fun.
Because there is a part of me that wants to do like the weekly show of like what I read this week and all of that kind of stuff. But I'm like, some weeks it's a lot, some weeks it's not a lot. We're
Yeah.
definitely adding way too many rules. It does not need to be as complicated as we're making it. We are
It can just be
overcomplicating it.
it can just be whatever. But that's what I mean. I'm just writing down everything right now, and I write down the years that the comic started, so that way I have all the information, and I can just organize it however.
That's why I
want.
sent you the Charlie Day Pepe Sylvia meme
What?
from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
that's you. Anytime I bring up anything, or I was like, "Oh, what are you doing for the list?" She's like, what do you mean? Does this count? What about this? What about this?
That was
And then I won't. It'll be radio silence for like 30 minutes to an hour, and I'll message back and be like, "Hello." And then I was like, "Is everything okay?" And you're like, "All right, look at this spreadsheet. Here's what I got so far."
well. You sent me that though, and I've been going through the MCU again and doing
from the beginning?
from the beginning.
From the beginning.
Okay.
To rewatch everything
Mhm.
and doing reviews, and we did our Iron Man review on the channel, which was really fun. And I just watched the Incredible Hulk and did that.
Oh, nice.
And you sent me that in response to my Incredible Hulk review, because there's a part where I just go into 5 tangents, which is something I do all the
You
time.
started with, "All right, guys. So I know I really like to deep dive," and then you split off onto 2 or 3 or 4 tangents,
Yeah.
all in that same thing. And then about 5 minutes down the line, you went back. So you're like, "So anyway, about me going into deep dives."
Yeah, and Doug was like, I don't know how to organize
I was
this.
like,
He was like, you are literally, that's when you sent me that meme, and you're like, this is you right now. This is what you look like. And I was like,
Also-
please make me look better than that.
But also, one of the tangents that you went on
It's who
was
I am.
actually a conclusion to a previous point you
Yes.
were talking about 5 minutes before the tangent
Oh, so then you gotta do the
began.
splice. That happens in my edits sometimes. You gotta
Yeah.
like move it to the
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
transpose it so that it's like seamless. No one will ever know that
No
they were
one
two
will ever
unconnected.
know. Well, they
at the
will
start.
now, because
but
Duck
it's-
has
But
revealed
it's like
the
one of
truth,
those
which
Russian
is that I
dolls where
am
every time you
chaotic.
take one off and you think it's done, there's another one in there that you gotta connect somewhere else.
Oh my goodness. Have you been watching any Invincible, Sasha?
No, I am so behind with that. I have undertaken a project that I'm going to do, which is going to be fun, which is terrible movies that I really enjoy, and then other
Ooh.
people may do too. So
That's so fun.
like,
What is
let's-
your first movie that you're
okay,
doing?
so I was inspired by doing the Dick Tracy video because that is a film that I'm very fond of, and I'm very aware that it has a very like polarizing reputation out there
Mhm.
because some people absolutely hate it. They think it's trash. And there are other
Mhm.
people who are like, this is so much fun. I love this movie. And it just got me thinking down that vein of like, there's so many movies like that. And it would just be fun to make a video discussing them. And then people can talk about what theirs are and what they like that other people don't. And I
That's
can
so
see
fun.
like Dylan knows that, Batman versus Superman is going to be on the.
I was gonna say for myself, actually,
Yep.
John Carter.
John Carter.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
one for me.
I
What about for
definitely
you,
want to talk about
Amanda?
Dune. 1980s Dune, which I love. Which I don't think I just talk about it, but I don't think I've ever done a video on it. Just
No.
talked
That's
about
true,
my
you do
love of
bring
it
up
and
a
been
lot.
roasted constantly everywhere. Anytime I bring it up, someone's
The
roasting me
amount
about
of
it.
times I've had to use the clip of Sting
Fade Rotha and his
in his metal
Oh,
Speedo.
I love it.
'cause he
Coming
keeps
out
bringing
of
it
like
up.
this.
Coming out of the steam room.
so disappointed with the new Dune that didn't happen. Even though
You
everyone's
did.
like,
Did you not care
"That's
for the new
not-"
Harkonnen like
It was
design?
fine.
I'm here to
I liked
Oh,
it.
it was
It was
fine.
alright. It was alright. I don't hate it, but I'm just like, not my Harkonnens. You know what I mean? Like, if there's no metal cod piece thing happening, then I'm not really
It's not
interested.
for you.
It's not for me. It's not for me. I mean, did we talk about this with Dune? Did we talk about how one of my complaints? I don't know if you've seen my Dune 2 review, but one of the things that I talked about was how there was no there's like a whole scene when they go. I don't know if I can say this on YouTube.
No, I know where you're going.
Oh,
Yes.
I can't. Okay. There's this whole scene where everyone gets together when Paul first meets Janie? No. Cheney. Thank you. That part.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm talking about.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. The Chani. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and there's the water, and then everybody's like tripping out, and that's the whole thing.
Matrix vibes, sequel Matrix vibes. So
Yeah.
like,
And as we're leaving,
that was not in Dune
as
2.
we
It was
were
very
leaving the
disappointing.
theater, you had your hands on your hips, and you're like, they stole this from
They
me.
stole this from me. Yeah.
They stole this Spore G from me.
Sporgy. Yeah.
I didn't like that. I was like, there are children around.
It's just such a good part in the book. Like, it's just,
You keep your smut. You have 50 Shades.
it's not for smut. It is because of what it represents for the characters. It's a big moment.
it
And
is,
so that
it
was the
is
thing
an
I didn't
important
like.
moment. In all fairness,
But I mean, Dune 2 for me, because of a lot of the stuff that they did with that relationship, I enjoyed Dune 2. I didn't think it was bad or anything like that. It was a great film. But
there's a lot of shifting and condensing that they do to condense everything into the timeline that I really think takes away from some of the depth of that relationship. And
mhm.
there are certain plot elements that were cut that the
Mhm.
assertions were made that they were unimportant
Look,
that I do not
Is that what
agree
they
with.
said in response? Is that
Well,
what Denis said?
No, it was what one of the writers said discussing like certain things about like the pregnancy and the miscarriage and like those kind of things. And I was like, I disagree.
I strongly disagree with this.
Um,
This is appalling. Now I'm
Stephen
very
Turner,
offended.
thank you very much, is saying I'm Halle Berry's Catwoman defense attorney.
I love that. Oh
And
my
I'm-
gosh, Catwoman would be so
and
fun to
I'm her
revisit.
basketball agent.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Yeah.
the scene that always gets played. Just her batting the ball back and forth.
I mean, it's pretty crazy that we had Halle Berry as Catwoman and that's what happened. Isn't that? Sometimes I think about that and I'm like, somewhere there's probably like a different universe where they actually got like the good, like Halle Berry, like they got like all the chops that Halle Berry is capable of with Catwoman, and it was probably glorious.
Quick question for you both, or anyone in chat. It's been so long since I've watched that movie willingly. Wasn't the villain like her power that she had like an indestructible face because of how much product she used on herself or something like that?
There was a special. It's been a while for me too. There was a special cosmetics, and I really need to rewatch it because I
Yeah.
remember the plot was like the villainous cosmetic thing that they did, and yeah, because they have the fight at the end, and like she's kicking her like across the face, and all of like
Yeah.
the Sharon Stone.
Yes. Okay, so I was remembering that right. I
Yes,
just
you are
remember
remembering
I
correctly.
just remember watching it being like, well, that's like little kid me. That's lame. Why'd they do that?
I have a confession. I can get on the defense squad because I have when I was younger, I made a fan video to that movie with like a techno song. I remember it. Yes, I did.
I
To
thought you
the
were
song
gonna say
Shoot by
Creed.
Sebastian. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Good times.
Where is this now?
It's still on my music video channel. It's
You
still
have a
up
music
there
video channel?
from when I was in high school. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
No one will ever find my drowning pool Naruto videos.
Oh
Those
my
will never
gosh.
see the light
All
of
my
day.
AMVs that I made, some of them sadly were
Oh.
lost to time because there was a period where they were purging certain things. Like instead of just copywriting them, they would delete them.
Yeah.
But then they
Oh.
stopped doing that and they went back to copywriting. But there were some that are not online anymore. But I have them like on a disc. I would make them with Movie Maker, and then I would write them to a DVD and like play them for my parents. Like it was a whole phase of life. So,
No, you just awoke memories within me. I've never seen my dad so disappointed in my entire life.
Joker is asking what we thought of Daredevil from 2003.
it's been a while since I've thought about Daredevil from 2003. To be honest,
I will defend that movie. I will defend a lot of things about that movie, except for the soundtrack, which is the most literal soundtrack of the entire.
I know, but I think
My
that's why I
entire
liked
life,
that
think.
soundtrack
I
at the
hated
time.
it.
I know, but in
What did you like about when they're like,
2003,
Here's
isn't that
Bull-
how
Here's
soundtracks
Bullseye.
were?
Where's he from? I'm Irish. I'm Irish. I'm Irish. Like the whole song's about him being Irish, and then it cuts to, but who does he really work for? And it's Kingpin, and the song is Bad Man.
Okay, I need to look up the soundtrack.
It's
now
I'm a
for
bad
Daredevil.
man. I'm like,
I'm
really?
a bad man. Really, is he? You know, I actually remember really
then
enjoying Daredevil in 2003, but that was in 2003.
And then Elektra
so
crying
I
on
don't
her
think we can
dad's
trust that.
coffin, and the song is "Bring Me to Life," and then it's her,
Yeah, Bring Me to Life
yeah,
was on it. I
Evanescence,
love
and then it's
that.
her becoming Elektra, the assassin.
But you can't go wrong with a resurrection set to Bring Me to Life.
Well, you
you?
can. It happened. It's called Daredevil.
yeah, I tend
2003.
to get annoyed when the music is too on the nose. Like that's one of the scenes I remember from Captain Marvel where they start playing "I'm Just a Girl" in the final
Yep.
fight.
Oh
and
my god! Yeah,
it was just
yeah.
so
right,
much.
right before your eyes. That's when,
Right before your eyes.
That's
Yeah,
when he
that
reveals
was
that he's
by
blind.
Hoobastank. Yeah,
And
Classic.
then Evening Rain. Do you know what happens by Moby?
The rain.
When the rain starts coming
I
down.
remember that part.
Who would have thunk?
Who would have thunk? Oh, and My Immortal is also on here. Is that?
Oh, and then Caught in the Rain. That's later on when he's sad that Elektra's dead.
There's a
and
lot
he's
of
standing
rain
the
in this
by
movie.
himself.
I remember that being a thing, and I remember Matt like seeing all the rain hitting stuff, and that's like he was really able to see really well in the rain. I remember that being conveyed for some reason. I don't know why, but this is also making me think of like the 2000s Charlie's Angels. I don't know why that's coming to my head, but this soundtrack is reminding me of it. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Last one, Let Go by 12 Stones is when Matt has to
Let go.
let go of Elektra and go fight
Yeah.
Kingpin.
Yeah.
Really? It wasn't that on the nose for you?
I mean, I just think it was on the nose, but I didn't mind. I think I was like, yeah, that's what's happening. This
You
seems
gotta
accurate.
give it a rewatch and see how you feel.
I blame Kevin Smith for this.
Yeah, that's what we'll do after we finish the MCU project.
Oh no,
I'll
I'm
just go
adding more
back.
things to you. No, stop! Don't do it. Don't rewatch it.
I'll tell you what, if you do a rewatch of this and you do it, I'll join you and we can relive. We still need to do. I still think
I'm
we should
going
watch
south
through
for
the
the
Batman
winter.
animated series. That could be its own thing.
You know,
I
that
don't
really
even
would
know.
Be fun. Like I really love that idea. We just need to. We need to make a schedule. You know, like an actual
Yeah.
concrete schedule that we can.
That we're like, this is the day where we film these reactions.
Yes.
And then
These
do
are the
that.
days that we like BTAS. you know?
Yeah. And then you will be like, this is how it's all going. And I'll be like, I don't know what's happening in this. This is amazing. It's going to blow my little mind. I've only seen a few episodes of Batman the Animated Series. Enjoyed it, but I want to dive in.
It's been
Actually-
about 2 years since my last rewatch, like a complete one. So
Yeah.
it would be nice to go through it again because that is something that I do rewatch pretty regularly. Like I've owned it. Like as soon as they released all of it on DVD, I was like, yeah, I'm getting it. You know, I should probably upgrade to Blu-ray at some point. Some of them are scratched now, so I'm like, it's a good time.
Yeah, and
Because-
Blu-rays are more durable too, I find.
Because the
They
kids
don't
got into
scratch
them and they
easy.
started liking them and watching them, but
That's
they were
awesome.
like, I'm taking it out, just dragging it off the
You're
thing.
like, that's a DVD. It's not durable enough.
I know it's like it's ruined now with like the lightest scratch. I'm like, it's all over.
It's like, we can't play this. This is a mess. Sorry.
Benjamin Hall, thank you very much, is asking about Captain America 1990s thoughts. Sadly, Duck is not
Wow.
here, for he has thoughts on that. I too have thoughts on that. I always enjoy the memes from that movie, which is what I remember the most. Like, Mr. President, thanks.
I've only seen it through the memes, so I've
Mm.
never watched it in full. So
I've
don't
watched
know.
it. I love watching some of the old and some of the ones that like were supposed to be films but didn't end up being, like Dr. Mordred and stuff like that. So
Yeah. What about, was there a Fantastic Four one that also happened, or was that
that one
That
was
wasn't in
never
the 90s.
released.
Never
but
released.
you can watch it
Never
on the Internet
released,
Archive.
but we saw
It's
it.
been archived.
It's been archived
We
Yeah,
saw
so
what
you
happened.
for
can
history.
you can actually watch it on the
That
Internet
was,
Archive with all the original sound
was
and
the
all of
studio who
that
did
stuff.
that.
So
Wow.
it's, you know what?
Roger
I actually
Corman.
kind of like it.
Roger Corman. Yeah, I gotta watch it. I gotta watch Duck. When you're back, you gotta tell us about 1990s Captain America and your thoughts on it.
Mr. President,
See?
thanks.
There you go.
That's what everybody remembers, that him driving around in his van. So this van of heroism.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Are you excited for Fantastic Four First Steps? What are your thoughts on that? Have you seen the trailers?
I did see the
trailer?
teasers. To the teaser and then the teaser to the teaser. So,
The teaser and then the teaser of the teaser to the trailer or whatever.
Yes.
How many things have we gotten on this? 2? Is that it?
Two.
1?
two, so like
Two.
two if you count like the little teaser thing.
Oh yeah.
But
It was short
like,
though.
I'm always down for the Fantastic Four. It's one of those things where I'm like, I'll always be there. Every single time there's something in one of them where I'm like, this casting or this thing. So I'm like, it's keeping that tradition alive. So I'm like, we'll see.
Are
see
you
how
not?
it
Do you not
goes.
like the cast? Is that the deal breaker for you right now? Or
It's
well, not
a
the deal breaker.
It's not a
but
deal breaker
the-
at all. I just don't think Pedro Pascal is great casting for Reed. So I'm just like, we'll see. You know, we could win me over with the performance, but like,
Is
just
it the
on paper,
mustache?
it's not the mustache. It's just there's a very specific archetypical like look for Reed,
Yeah.
and
yeah,
I just don't feel
you.
he matches it. He's also, in my opinion, not tall and lanky enough, because I'm like, one of the things with Reed is that he's got to be like stretchy. And it's like, it's completely, these are just by off the cuff, like in my dream casting. Again, it's like the performance could be amazing. I'm willing to give anybody a shot.
Yeah, I'm
But-
hoping that that's what's gonna happen. That Pedro Pascal is just gonna blow our socks off with his acting, and then we'll be like, "Wow, that's definitely Reed." I didn't see, because I also thought, for me, it was when they cast Pedro Pascal, I was a little like, "Oh, I don't know about that," but then they gave me the rest of the cast, and I was like, "Now I'm starting to see it," because I can feel like, although I think Pedro Pascal is kind of a weird cast for Reed, I feel like Pedro Pascal with this group as Reed could work.
I'm also
So-
curious which Reed we're getting, because like I make fun of Reed all the time, but he's one of my favorite characters, and that's because of how complex he is, and the fact that he's oftentimes, because of how cold and calculating he can be, not the nicest person, but still a really good hero, because he's always willing to put the earth and the world and the universe first.
Like,
but
first,
sometimes
yeah.
that comes at the expense
Of
of
kind of
you know,
being not
of
so
being
great.
of being able to be present and be there.
So what's
Yeah.
a few birthdays? You know?
You know, like the
Yeah.
Reed who would shoot his own son to like stop his powers from developing for the universe. You know, like those kind of things. I'm like, am I getting
Like,
that?
shut his
Reed?
son's brain off.
Like, yeah, I'm like, probably not. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
No, I don't
chances
think
are-
so. I think Pedro Pascal is going to be more of like
Nice Reed.
a modern Reed is what I would say. Like, I think he might still have some quirks to him, but I don't think he's going to be like, would shut his son's brain off. vibe.
Like,
Might
give
try to
me
find a
that
different
Reed.
way. Give me that
Benjamin-
Reed.
Benjamin Hall is saying 1970s Cap had the van. I'm confusing my Cap fans. So,
Dang it.
Is 1970s Cap the one where he has the motorcycle helmet because they couldn't afford to do an actual costume for him?
What? 1970s
now
cat.
you're looking up 1970s Cap. But are you
The-
excited for Fantastic Four?
I'm so excited.
I'm
I'm very excited for Herbie being in it.
You search 1970s Cap,
Oh yeah, I got the Captain America.
You're
and so
getting
they
caps?
gave you flat caps.
Oh yeah, there he is.
Yeah, there he is
his
with the
helmet.
motorcycle helmet. Yeah, that was great.
You were right. Oh, that's quite the helmet. I encourage you all to look this up, but don't look up 1970s Cap or you'll just get a hat. Just FYI. Google doesn't know what we mean when we look that up. They do not know how nerdy I am. But yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I like that it's going to be like a period piece. I think
that's gonna be fun.
That will be fun. And I think that gives me a lot of hope for it maybe being like an actual Fantastic Four rendition that we'll love. Oh, I also saw your video on Red Ghost.
Oh yeah, do you think it's Red Ghost, or are you on the train of it's actually one of the like Richard's like children descendants?
Yeah, we were talking about that, and I was thinking, Duck was thinking it could be like an alternate version, like old Nathaniel Richards, and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of thinking that too. I don't know why this came into my head, and the more that I think about it, the less accurate that it seems. But I also thought it could be Puppet Master. Is that Alicia Masters?
That's her father.
Papa?
Yeah.
But then I was like, I don't know why I'm thinking that, because Puppet Master does not look at all like how John Malkovich looks in this trailer.
But I mean, nobody in real life could look how the Puppet Master looks.
Puppet Master is very much a vibe.
It's a grotesque, like, no human should look
So
like
he
that.
could still be the Puppet Master and just not be doing that look. But I did like the idea of Red Ghost, and it was funny because I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like I did my reaction to the trailer and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder who John Malkovich is going to play. And then everyone was like, oh, he's Red Ghost. He's Red Ghost. He's Red Ghost. And then I went to look it up to be like, oh, I guess that already came out. And
No, everybody's
it's one of
just
those things. It's
fan
just
theory.
a fan theory.
Because the look, it's that hair coming down
hair?
the side.
I mean, and I think Red Ghost would be super fun, so I'm super down for if that's what we get. But yeah, it's the same thing when Daredevil Born Again came up, and I was talking about who the lady that Matt is with could be, and I was, talking about some people that I thought, and everyone's like, oh, it's I forget the name of the love interest.
I'm not bringing it up because you're going to go down a rabbit
I'll go down a rabbit hole. But anyway, everyone was like, oh, it's this person. And then I looked up to see where that cast was confirmed, and it's not. It's listed on Wikipedia. But the article that it's listed to is like a theory article. So I was like, that's not Wikipedia. Why you do this?
Well, don't worry. You're not alone. Somebody else was thinking. Orlando Woods is saying, I was thinking the same thing, Amanda. You're not alone in thinking that
Thank
it
you,
was
Orlando.
Puppet
It's you and me, Puppet Master.
I just want it to be Red Ghost.
Do you want the apes?
I need to see this version of the Thing punching an ape.
I definitely think it would be really fun if it's Red Ghost. I'm down for Red Ghost. I'm down for Puppet Master. I'm down for older Nathaniel Richards from like the future,
Reject humanity, return to
Embrace monkey.
there's honestly, I just love also that John Malkovich is in it. I was like, how do they get these
Benjamin
people?
Hall is saying Nostradamus is my guess, and also wants more Cap 1990s thought.
More 1990s thoughts. I think I'm gonna have to watch
Captain America
1990s.
1990. His greatest superpower is tricking people out of their cars so they
Yes.
can then steal them and drive away.
I might need to do like how we did for should we do a night like how we did for Craven, and we'll watch 1990s Captain America, and I can just make a few shorts out of it where we film our reactions to it in real time.
We can
watching
do
it.
that. The one thing I will warn you though is, unlike Craven, which is non-stop laughter from start to finish.
Yes.
There are definitely some dead zones.
There are some dead zones in that Cap. It's the opening with the piano
Yeah.
does not like.
It's one of those things where it's like you could definitely cut chunks of the
Right.
film and make like your own edit. Like this is like the condensed version.
Like how they do in Mystery Science Theater, where it's like
Yeah, where you can just like cut whole like
it's
chunks
just
out,
like
and it's
whatever
still
the
coherent
fluid
enough.
is. Yeah. And then some of it always leaks out, so it's just like the best worst bits.
Yeah, you'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe that's what we do. then.
When I watched it the once, I never thought I'd be sitting down to watch it again, but here we are.
Do it. I think it would be fun.
Marvel Man is saying, I'm just glad that Galactus isn't a cloud this time.
Yeah.
Me too.
Me too. I like
was
that
nice to see the
Galactus is
helmet.
Galactus. Yeah. I mean, we'll see how the rest of it looks. I hope it looks as good as that helmet,
he looks
though.
like
It looked pretty
MODOK.
good.
from the MCU.
MODOK from the MCU.
So really weird.
Great.
Goofy
I
face.
liked MODOK, but I know that I'm one of the
In the
odd people.
minority?
I'm in the minority. I liked because I thought it was dumb and goofy, and I was like, that's what MODOK is, though. He is dumb and goofy.
MODOK's meant to be menacing, though.
I mean,
I know I know
can't
the
be.
the concept and everything is silly, but there are some comics where the way he's drawn is just genuinely horrific.
I
Designed
mean-
only for killing Amanda.
well, yeah, I know, but I mean, I will say, I think, is it an ultimate MODOK is like literally straight up nightmare fuel. So yeah, MODOK can be frightening for sure. I respect that, but I like when MODOK's a goofball. I just think it's really funny.
Sure,
I have
Ultimate
no
MODOK is
idea
just
why
a
this made me think of that.
head with
Oh,
spider
Nightmare
legs.
Fuel. How
Mm.
do you feel about the people who want Miles Teller to be the Maker in the Fantastic
We
Four
can do better.
like filmverse?
I like Miles Teller. I really liked him in Top Gun Maverick, especially.
Because they're trying to redeem Fan Four Stick, basically. They're like, can we do something?
No. I think it's best that we just let it go, to be honest with you. As much as I love Miles Teller, so it's not, I don't have
Okay.
issues with Miles Teller, but like, no. And I don't think we're like, this is the other thing. We were just talking about this with just so many things. I feel like people always want to jump the gun. They're like, but what if the Maker? And I'm like, I feel, let's just first steps.
Yeah, for baby steps.
First steps. Let's get the family in and see how we feel about that. And if that's going good, maybe down the line we get a Maker, and I think that would be really fun. And I mean, with Secret Wars, definitely a lot of potential.
If we're
for
doing
the Maker to
Miles
come
Teller
in.
Maker, we got to bring back Toby Kebbell with the hooves, Doctor Doom. If they're gonna go ultimate,
Oh my goodness. I mean, I'm just, I think Joker was asking earlier if I watched the new Cat movie. I did. And one of the things that I actually really liked about this movie, and that Duck and I were talking about after, is that it's not multiversal. It's
It's just contained.
it's just
just
its
a
own thing.
story.
At no point did anyone ever show up and he's like, "Aha, it's me, evil Anthony Mackie." And
Like-
it was a nice breath of fresh air. I mean, the world, everything has its place. Like, I watched Deadpool and Wolverine, and I loved it. I thought it
Yeah.
was great. But I don't think every movie needs to be, "Hey, remember me? I was from this universe."
Yeah.
Hey, remember when I played the Beast? Remember the Beast?
Yeah. So, I mean, I will say, I feel like let's enjoy the worlds that we have. And then
Because
maybe.
they're all gonna be gone soon.
Yeah. Wait, soon? Where are they
We're
going?
doing Secret Wars.
Oh, yeah. They're all going to get smashed up. Yeah. Battle World and
Mhm.
whatever we're doing with that. And who knows? Yeah. Rest in peace. Everything that we
Yeah,
know.
I'm so over just multiverses because it's infected everything.
Yeah, that's
It
what
has.
that's what Otto was saying. Just too much.
Thank you, Otto.
Yeah.
Too much multiverses. Yeah. I don't know.
Mortal Kombat 1.
Hellverse. We were talking about this before. When's the Hellverse gonna start?
Yeah.
Hellverine.
Burn it down already.
Hell.
But you
Hulk.
see, you can't use burn or fire or anything.
Oh,
They're just willing it
God.
into existence. 'Cause,
Yeah.
hell.
That's what they're gonna
playing.
say. Hellverse. Burn it down. End of the
But I
Hellverse
just
in
wanted to say
5
quickly
years. Oh,
that
I'm sorry.
Mortal Kombat
Hit your
1,
face.
which was a reboot of the series that came out last year.
Sorry, which?
Mortal
Oh
Kombat
yeah,
1,
the
the
game.
game.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if you were talking about the
No,
movies.
no,
Yes,
the
Mortal
game.
Kombat 1, the game.
And they had free reign to do whatever they wanted. Very much like an Ultimates.
Well, and they did.
And they started off that way where it's like there's
Start.
little things, little hints of things that you remember from like previous games, and it's like, oh, it's this guy, but he's different. Oh, it's this person. Now they're a other gender. Just like
Yeah.
little things like that. And then at the end, instead of doing anything, because the whole thing was a mystery, and the mystery ended up being, well, it was me from another universe. Here's all these other universes coming in and invading it now. And I was like, what happened? Why did this happen?
We started something new, and now all of a sudden, multiverse shenanigans.
Remember that multiverse?
Because everyone loves the multiverse is hot, but that's the thing. When everyone does it, it's like
What it is that the
Ugh.
multiverse is easy. It can be a way, it can be a way to put yourself in a corner, but can also be a way to like avoid having to really end
open everything up.
something.
Yeah.
So Also, Dragonberry
Oh.
Mead, thank you very much, is asking, what is your favorite movie depiction of the Thing in the Fantastic Four movies, including the unreleased film?
Favorite
So,
movie depiction of the Thing.
I actually have a fondness for the like the Chris Evans verse. Like that's I know he played the Human Torch, but that's just how I think of those movies. Is
I
like
agree.
Chris Evans, Fantastic Four.
I feel like
Oh, that's his name, sir. I couldn't remember his name off the top
What?
of my head. Michael Chiklis' Thing.
Yeah.
Is so good.
He's so
when he
good.
can't pick up the ring on the ground that his now ex-wife threw away, I teared up when I saw that. Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, there he
He's
is.
from the Shield. Just
Yeah.
right there.
I agree with you. I feel like that's what I think of when I think of Thing. I mean, that was one thing that I wasn't as big a fan of with the trailer was like the voice of
A
the
lot
Thing.
of people said that. I didn't mind it, but some people felt that they needed to be like gravelly. Some people were like, he needs to sound like Jack Kirby.
I mean, my thing is like I don't need
No
it to
one
be
can
like
smoke
that.
much and still be with us.
It's the same thing with Pedro Pascal's mustache, which was why I made that joke of like,
Yeah.
was it the mustache? Because everyone in my comments was like, I hate this mustache.
Well, the nice thing about
And they were like, Reed doesn't have facial hair, and I was like,
Like, he does. He has a
well,
beard,
he
though, when
does.
it's-
Well, yeah. Well, they were like, Reed doesn't have a mustache. I'm like, well, he does, but it's usually attached to something. Pedro
part of the
Pascal, it's the Pedro Pascal mustache, but at the same time, I don't know, he looks really good with a mustache, and I think that's like an indication that we're getting a facial hair Reed, which is a different type of Reed
It is.
than shaved Reed.
yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, and I mean that's the thing. Like while I was like, oh, that's not really like what I was thinking of in my mind because I'm thinking of more of a Michael Chiklis, like kind of like it's a bit more gruff.
But
Michael
the thing about
Chiklis.
Michael Chiklis is that he didn't have to wear prosthetics or anything. He just walked on set like that, and they were like, "Well, here we go. We got the thing."
This is what I deal with on a daily basis.
He was born to be the thing.
Oh my god. So I feel like that's the thing. That's ultimately what it's about, though. These are things that I think of when I think of the character, but it doesn't mean that someone else can't come in. And then when I see more of that, I'll probably like it because I can never remember the actor's name that's playing the thing in Fantastic Four First Steps. He's got
Eben Moss Baccarat.
Eben Moss Baccarat. Wow. I started off right. That's a rare treat. I love him. I think he's a great actor. So I think he's going to take us on a journey. Everyone that's in it is really good. That doesn't mean it will be good, but I hope.
What I'm enjoying is that these are the types of discussions that are happening. I'm like, it's like, yeah, these are fun. These are like fun, classic, like fandom discussions, like shave the mustache off, like change the voice. Like people are like,
Change
people
the
are
voice.
complaining. I'm like, these are pretty standard fandom conversations. Like,
Yeah.
it's
The
not
one thing that
great.
I've seen is that we all agree. I think everyone likes Herbie. Herbie, I think everyone's like thumbs up, like that Herbie. Not your Herbie? Are you about to say that?
Mr. President. Good Herbie.
Oh my goodness. Also, Joker, you were asking if there's a post-credit scene in
Yes,
Captain
yeah.
America Brave New World. There is.
There is.
At the end of the credits. You gotta stay to the very end.
Was it worth it? Was it worth waiting until the very end?
No. I mean, it depends. How much MCU have you watched?
It's a thing that happened.
If you've watched it all, I think you will agree with me and say that wasn't really worth it for me. However, I do like to sit through the credits anyways normally. So it doesn't bother me having to sit
Yeah,
through them.
like you don't feel like you wasted your time. You're like, I was sitting here anyway.
No.
So.
No, but I think if you're maybe not as in touch and like maybe this is the first thing you've seen in a bit, then I would say definitely you want to stick around to the end. But if you've seen it all,
Atomic Sorcery. I just saw that come up. That is correct.
what?
Everyone's wrong. The best Fantastic Four movie is actually The Incredibles.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, The Incredibles.
That's true.
I saw someone somewhere recently, I don't know if this was on Reddit or something, but they were like, The Incredibles, like Fantastic Four is basically just The Incredibles. And people were like, actually,
I know, it's like,
Incredibles
take that,
is
flip it,
Fantastic
reverse
Four.
it.
Because Fantastic Four came first.
I knew that was going to happen, though. I was like, as soon as I saw the aesthetic they went with, like, people are going to think that The Incredibles did this first.
When really, this is just OGFF.
Somebody in because in one of my university classes, we did graphic novels, and sequential art was the class, and basically pick a thing everyone votes on, because there's a bunch of different graphic novels, and then we had to write, I think it was 3 papers. Each one was worth 33% of your grade. So if you failed 2 of the 3, so you really had to pay attention. One of the ones that people picked, Watchmen. And I was like, easy. I got this. Been reading this for years. And then I remember somebody in the class was like, wait a minute. This is just The Incredibles.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, okay. Yes.
It's like, I kind of want to read that paper, though.
They totally ripped off The Incredibles.
I'm like, let's go. I'll read it.
Maybe I should put that in my Fantastic Four video that I'm going to do. When I talk about Fantastic Four, I should talk about the confusion between The Incredibles and the Fantastic Four. Because I think we need to clarify that for some people that might be...
Wait, Batman is just V from Vendetta.
Well, it's really...
Instead of little batarangs, he throws knives.
Oh my gosh.
What was really fun, actually, during the Dick Tracy video was people who were seeing the inspiration that some of the Batman villains took from some of the grotesques. And I was like, yeah, that does happen. There's a lot, especially around that era.
Yeah.
And it's not as noticeable because, firstly, it's the strip and not everybody read the reprints. But also, a lot of Dick Tracy's villains die. So it's just like they're there for a bit and then they die horribly, like impaled on fences, like glass, just like everything's happening.
Out of them, yeah.
But I mean, that's why so many early Batman villains also died.
Yeah, but they couldn't stay dead.
But they couldn't stay dead. No, but like...
Gotta bring them back.
Like, oh, yes, that man with a horrible skin condition. Make him a crocodile. Call him Killer Croc. That's what we're gonna do with that. What other grotesques are there? That man, he's made of clay. Clay face.
I mean, the reality is that the hero story is, like, very old, right? Like, hero stories are not new. So when people talk about, like, oh, this is just recycled whatever, I'm like, well, I mean, like, everything is kind of recycled whatever. Like, I don't know. We could go all the way back to, like, Beowulf, you know what I mean? Like, this has been something we've been talking about for not just, like, 80 years plus, hundreds of years, way back in time. So to me, I'm always just like, yeah, everything is probably inspired by something else, and it is what it is. But it's really what you know as to, I find, what people are the most protective of, because whatever you're the most familiar with, that's the thing you're gonna be like, no, this is unique. Nothing's unique, though, is the reality.
I disagree. I had a discussion about this in an interview. I'm like, it's out there. It's just we haven't seen it yet because it's unique. I refuse to believe that we have gone through all the ideas under the sun. I'm like, no, there are new things out there.
Star Wars is an amalgamation of a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah.
But no one did Star Wars.
Well, my thing is that everything is inspired by something, but everything can still provide some kind of twist to it, right? So, like, everything's still bringing some kind of perspective that might be unique to that thing, but everything comes from something. So it's an echo of the past, and that I think is beautiful about hero stories and all stories.
It's a really cool interwoven tapestry. But I do still firmly believe that there are some experiences that just because, for whatever reason, maybe we don't have the technology to do it yet. Maybe we haven't been out to the area where we've seen the thing or it's happened yet. But I'm like, there are still some things that are untapped, but we don't know what they are.
Fully untapped. Like, they didn't come from anything else.
I truly believe that there are unexplored horizons that we have yet to
discover. I feel like H.P. Lovecraft has a stranglehold on horror. Because a lot of his books are like, well, what does it look like? He's like, what's the scariest thing you've ever thought of in your entire life? That. Whatever you want, reader.
I will say, speaking of, like, cool original stories, I did go and check out The Moon is Following Us, by the way. I really like it. It's really weird in a really
I like it a lot too.
Satisfying way. And it did not go where I thought it was going to go. I still want to do a video on it because it just like, obviously I just knew that you liked it. And other than that, I didn't really know that much about it. You kind of were like, this is kind of what it's about. That's it. And then I went in kind of thinking, I don't know. I think I went in thinking I knew where it was going, and then it surprised me. And I like when stories
Yeah,
do
no,
that.
it's fun where like it's just kind of pivots and it's like, oh, we're going on a different type of journey than
I
anticipated.
expected. Yeah,
You
I
know?
didn't think that's where we were going. That's the fun thing about it. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, to that point, there's definitely stuff out there that can still wow you. It doesn't mean that we all need to think that everything's the same and therefore there's no point in reading anything.
No,
That's a sad life.
there's still really exciting things that, to come for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Even if we're doing, what number adaptation of the Fantastic Four will this be? For
In film form?
In film? This is
There's
what, fourth?
3,
This
4,
is a
I
fourth
guess.
because like there's one's a sequel, so yeah, like fourth.
Yeah. So even if we're doing that and we've already done it a bunch, I'm still excited and I'm like, I think it's gonna give us something new, which
Definitely.
is fun.
Each
Sometimes
version
when
is
you
different
beat the dead
from
horse, it'll give you something new.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, I think there's also like an evolution that we can go through. I don't know. The MCU is in a place, and I'm very curious
Look,
to see where
we
it goes.
currently have the Robert Pattinson Batman.
Robert Pattinson, yeah.
Happening.
I keep forgetting that that's still happening.
And then
Still
we're also
happening.
going to have another Batman at the same time.
Look,
So, it's
Robert
like, how many
Pattinson's gonna be
bats
like
are
so
too many?
old by the time we get this next movie, though,
If they
'Cause they're
keep
just
this up, they're gonna make another bat embargo.
because they're just working on the script forever. But
They're
I
gonna
also
need to
respect
Mickey 17
that they want to
them.
work on the script forever.
But in real life, just keep cloning Robert Pattinson.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Movie.
That's what they're really doing. It's like it's a documentary, so we can keep making.
About the making of the Batman 2. This is how we did it. We just cloned Robert Pattinson a bunch, and then
There-
out of that came Mickey 17.
There was no script. We just dropped him here and gave him a suit and
We
started
followed
filming.
him. Some real like Gonzo filmmaking.
I guess the other thing is like, why do some adaptations work and some don't? Why do you think that is?
Like what?
I don't know, like anything. Like pick a movie that is
So-
an adaptation
It's
that
really
didn't work for a lot
dependent.
of
There are lots
Yeah,
of different.
I was like, there's
factors.
a lot of different factors here. Just like anything, any adaptation.
All right, well,
Beowulf, because the CG sucked.
yeah, Beowulf, the CG sucked. That's why it didn't work.
That's why it didn't work.
It's a good story, though.
It is a good story.
It's a good story.
Didn't work.
But like the original Fantastic Four movies, let's say, just because we were just been talking about that.
Original, so you mean 2005, not
Yeah.
not the Roger Corman stuff.
No.
Yeah,
So
not
Roger-
for the rights.
Yeah, no.
To be fair, all credit where credit's due. They did a not bad,
No,
not
it's
bad
honestly enjoyable. It's an enjoyable watch. It's one of those things where I'm like, I kind of wish this had been released.
It feels more like a Fantastic Four movie than the Josh Trank End My Career film that he put out.
No, it really does. It genuinely does.
What do you? So you just feel? Do you feel that it's more like success or not success? I should say, because I'm not talking about like box office numbers here. I'm more talking
Looking for
about
enjoyment. Is that the word you're looking
just
for?
how it resonates with audiences, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I
So
think there's
what-
lots of factors there too, because then it also depends on like what time and when. Because sometimes you'll have ones that they come out and they don't resonate at the time, but then like they're rediscovered later on.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they find their audience, because that can sometimes happen as
That's
well.
true. That's true. So it's timing, it's good CG.
It's like it's
It's
time,
important.
passion, it's technology, it's the receptiveness of the environment to wanting to see it.
That's
like-
true. That's something that I feel like we've been up against with a lot of things lately.
It's like-
just people want I feel like that's going to be what's happening with Captain America, where a lot of people are just going to be like, I don't really want to watch this. So
Well-
therefore I went in like already not liking
Another
the film.
factor with that too is it's kind of we're all experiencing the burnout. We've been watching these movies for going on 20 years now.
Mm.
So, especially when they all follow a formula, it's
Mm.
Well, because and after a while you start to notice it, because it's like then people go
Yes.
back and they're like, they were always doing it. It's like, yes, they were, but at the time it wasn't as noticeable because you weren't as used to it. And
Yeah.
also
In the
they got
same-
more entrenched in it as time went on. And also they created an environment where like a lot of people actually went and saw all the films, which is not normal. That's not the
No.
normal
Yes.
film going experience.
No.
And to bring it all the way back to when we started this live stream, this is why we're so jaded about X-Men, is because we've seen this before. We've seen the cracks.
I'm not
and now we
jaded
can't
about X-Men.
just be-
FYI.
I'm actually not jaded
I'm not
either.
jaded. Yeah,
Oh.
I'm
you're
overwhelmed.
the jaded
Just
one.
me?
I'm overwhelmed.
with
I
it.
agree.
You both haven't read Grey Malkin yet.
I mean, this is true. Sasha and I have both not read Grey Malkin, so maybe we will become jaded. It's possible. I don't think I'll become jaded, but I might be like, oh, that's unfortunate. You know, I still also have to go back and read the end of Krakoa, which I feel like I should do a video on that when I eventually go back and read it.
It's
'cause
just
that's
okay.
probably going to be an experience.
It's not a spoiler for Grey Malkin. It's just kind of a theme here. When you're saying that Xavier did nothing wrong in comparison to Magneto, especially following Krakoa,
I know, but I still
that's
need
kind
more
of
context.
a weird.
on it.
What context?
Like, why would you say it though? Is there some other reason that I don't know about because I haven't read it yet? Because I've seen the panels, but I don't have the full story, so I can't. When people give me panels and like, what do you think of this? I'm like,
You
well, a
want the
panel
full-
is a panel. I need the context. Yeah, I can't. I don't like to assess it based on that because it feels like it's not fair to the material.
It's not fair for me to just start giving more context to something you haven't read either. So
Well,
that's-
yeah.
that's
I
not
have
like
to
you
read
need
it.
to
I have
read
to
it,
read
but
it.
it really is one of those things where I kept reading it thinking it was going somewhere, like, oh, this is gonna be one of those weird, like pick a side like they did with Schism. All this, it's like no, people just forgot what happened on Krakoa and are now making up their own fun to make this story work. Anyway,
I just
that's
feel like
all
when
I'll
you
say
have
about it.
editorial, how do you forget what happened like
just don't
a year
care.
ago or 2 years ago?
It's the same reason when they put the barcodes or whatever on the back of the comics and they used to
QR
the
code?
QR codes. Look at this thing. It's X-Men.
The QR codes, rest
Yeah,
in peace.
there are some like moments like that like I'm experiencing it, like we talked about earlier with like Rogue the Savage Land, where
Yeah.
there are just some things that are just
Well, where you literally went back to be
incongruous.
like, wait a minute, let me revisit this and just see how
the
it
way
matches.
that it described Carol and Rogue's relationship as just like this like small beef that like was not, it was just like,
Small
oh, she's
beef.
just not like the biggest fan of me. And I was just like, I can't handle
Fight to the death. There's
just-
more of that
They
vibe.
just had a fight last year in the comics. They're still fighting.
Mm.
It's still going on.
It's also because like, okay, because I went back to reread because I'm like at 269, Magneto kills Miss Marvel. Like I'm like, yeah, I'm like, this is what happened at the end. Then we went to the binary stuff and like all of like that happened. And the Rogue Savage Land is like, you did away with her. I'm like, she was like they made it sound like he sent her away someplace. And I'm like, that's not how this happened. That's just not how the thing went. It also ignored the fact that when she went through the Siege Perilous, why she went through it was because it was a sacrifice moment with the
Mhm.
Nimrod
Yeah,
Master Mold
yeah.
fusion. And like Dazzler takes the shot and pushes her. It's like this big hero moment. And they all thought she was dead. And it's just kind of like,
out
I
for
went,
milk.
it starts off with like, I went through this magic mystical portal. Isn't that the most X-Men thing ever? And I was like, this was a huge heroic sacrifice moment that I still remember to
It's
this
not
day.
random.
Like there were tentacles and like she was trapped in the mold. All of
That is bizarre.
so
Now,
I'm just like, the tone is just very different.
do you think it's like a retelling of this? Like they're trying to like
That's
change
why I had
up?
to go and check. I was like, so that's why I went to check. I was like, so are we slotting in, or is this like, this is the retcon, this is the redo, this is how I'm supposed
Yeah.
to think about it now? So
I don't know how to feel about that if that's what they're going for, because that feels like, but why though?
Yeah.
Like I don't mind a retcon as long as it serves a purpose.
that's
But
my
when
thing.
people
I'm like,
retcon
I've lived
stuff-
through many a retcon.
One of the best
Yeah.
retcons. One of the best retcons ever was who just did Immortal
What?
X-Men.
Kieran Gillen?
When Kieran Gillen retcon Sinister to be the most fey, awesome, like,
That's not a
scientist.
retcon. That's just how Sinister
No,
always
no,
was.
no,
Yeah, he
not.
was. That's how I always read
You think he
Sinister.
was like, oh, here's me and my nasty boys.
He called them the Nasty Boys. This was my favorite thing when we first started talking about X-Men, and we talked about the voice for Sinister that we had in our head. And Duck was like, I have this, like, really, like, menacing,
No,
like, deep voice.
it's always been Snagglepuss.
That's what I have in my
Always.
head all the time. And he was like, that's so weird. And then we started reading
Oh, the
Conan era, and he was like, oh my god, you're right. And I was like, yeah. And then he's like, oh, because it's not new. It's not new. It's always been there under the surface, just waiting.
No, he has a different voice in my head when he had the pointy teeth.
Yeah, I mean, pointy teeth is a vibe, pointy teeth. But I mean, also, it's a very... Who has pointy teeth? It just feels like a very strong
it's actually,
style
some
choice.
people like shave them down for like, sometimes it's veneers gone wrong and sometimes it's actually an aesthetic choice. So.
That's right. I feel like the aesthetic element of it, in a way, just also feels like Sinister with his capes, though. Like, I can just imagine him being like, they have to be perfectly pointed, these teeth, because I have to be the most menacing. I just always hear him like that in my head. I don't know why, but I always hear him like, oh, I've got to make sure these teeth are perfectly pointed. I imagine him obsessing over things, but that's neither here nor there. What else have you been reading, Sasha? Is there any Energon stuff? Did we talk about Venom? Did we talk about that? That's our thumb. We didn't. Did we talk?
Oh, you put Venom in your thumb. You better talk about Venom.
I don't know.
Eddie Brock Carnage, actually.
Yeah. Eddie Brock Carnage.
Yeah. What do you think of that concept?
I have no strong feelings one way or the other. Because we were talking about before we started, where like you were saying that it's like everybody's like been venomized and that kind of like the special factor of somebody getting a symbiote and like either becoming Venom or Carnage or any of the others, it feels very much like it's just worn off for me. It's like it becomes the like it was Tuesday kind of event at that point.
Mm-hmm.
That's another movie we should watch.
What?
It levitates my desk.
Oh, yeah. That's the Street Fighter movie that I still haven't watched. Patrick was asking about America Chavez's origin retcon. Oh, wait,
we'll
sorry.
We're not going.
Sorry, tell us about
Eddie Brock,
Venom.
Carnage.
Eddie Brock Carnage. This is what you picked as the thumb.
Yes.
You have been reading Venom, but
yes.
I have been interested in Eddie Brock Carnage because I think that's a really cool concept.
So, did you read any of the Al Ewing Venom stuff?
No, I did not. I have been off the Venom train for quite some time.
Okay, so he started off with what I thought was a very interesting concept because he became the King in Black after the Donny Cates stuff and that, and it's essentially because he's like living goo. And he's basically just like DNA now that's like flowing in and out. It's like there is no real timeline.
It's like all of time exists at the same time within
it became
King in Black and within
Al
like
Ewing
what you
does.
Represent.
He turned Venom into a very heady,
very like cosmic sci-fi weirdness, and that Duck would constantly be like, so let me tell you what's happening in Venom now, and I'd be like, this is, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Ultimately,
right
the grand thing was that
it's Eddie versus
himself.
Eddie.
There's a Meridius who is kind of like a Venom Kang. He's got a purple sash, so you know he's evil, and a crown. But then you find out that he's actually Eddie Brock.
Nothing says evil like a purple sash.
and he has a bunch of like minions who work for him, which are all also Eddie Brocks, but throughout time. And as the series goes along, you see Eddie slowly becoming
these versions,
different versions of himself, and it's as he's going in and out of time. Like I said, it's not linear. So it's like, well, this one Venom may seem really old. It's actually not as old as you may think. Yada, yada, yada. It ends with, out of nowhere, this whole thing with his son
Dylan
his son Codex
comes in.
Yeah,
Codex.
Dylan, aka Codex,
Yeah.
who has to basically sever Eddie from being King in Black.
Otherwise, he'll become super evil.
He's
right?
just going to become null and kill everyone anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
dang.
son stabs dad. Also
Classic.
kills Carnage, I'm pretty sure. Kills Cletus Cassidy.
Oh, yeah, then Carnage was in there, and then it was like, I thought Carnage died. I know Carnage never dies.
No, Carnage never dies.
But then Carnage was like, I'm going to take over all of this. And I was like, what? Okay, sounds like Carnage.
But they deal with him in comic book fashion. But it left dying Eddie Brock and a dying Carnage symbiote to have to come together in kind of like a moment of, hey, we're both going to die. Neither of us like each other. But we kind of need this to work right now, otherwise we're both dead.
And then does Dylan still have the Venom?
No, the Venom symbiote also left.
What?
And that's the current mystery right now with all new Venom.
Oh, we don't know who it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
that's
anyway,
kind of cool.
The whole idea now is that with Eddie bonded to Carnage,
kind of want to read
whenever he pulls out the symbiote to fight and become Carnage, he will just wake up as if that had never happened.
What?
Okay.
There's like a gap in his memory because Carnage takes full control and is refusing to tell him any of the things
that's scary
that he's doing.
Oh, I hate it, but I love it.
And then by the end of the issue, it also becomes, like, what else is he making me do that when I'm not aware? What time am I not aware
right.
of?
So it's just like Eddie constantly like freaking out about this relationship. But then for all we know, Carnage could be doing like not necessarily anything bad.
He's getting groceries, man. But anyway, they're currently doing, if you wanted to look it up too, they're doing like a mind palace thing.
Okay.
They will meet in Eddie's mind. And Eddie
and they have
pure
tea?
Eddie Brock fashion is shirtless in black jeans.
Okay. What does Carnage wear?
But Carnage,
bow tie?
No, Carnage is in a fedora.
Yeah.
He's got a cane and like a three-piece suit.
That feels correct to me. Why does that feel so right?
And it's I don't know. I went into this skeptical as hell. I'm like done with symbiotes.
It's Charles Soule writing,
And
by the way.
They brought me right back in. I don't know. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
with that
I think
first
I
issue.
need to read that. That sounds really fun. Because my thing is, I think it's also an interesting study for Carnage. Because I guess the question is, like, is Carnage, like, evil? Or how much of that is, like, Cletus's influence? You know what I mean?
Look,
and that's all that Carnage has known. So, like, what if Carnage...
So much of that throughout the years of, like, is it Carnage or is it Cletus? Are they one?
Well, because I just mean, like, Carnage doesn't usually get a ton of opportunities
Fair.
to be with someone that's not a villain, is what I would say. And I mean, in alternate realities, it's kind of like anyone that bonds with Carnage is a villain. But then again, a lot of those people are also already have villainous tendencies. And so I just mean, when you think about, like, also when you think about the way that Carnage came into being,
Yes.
it's like, really, you can examine a lot of, like, nurture versus nature, which I know we've done with Carnage before, but I just think this is a cool approach to
Quick
it.
aside, fan theory is, for all new Venom, by the way, is that Venom is not any of the people who they've said, because they put out, like, could be this person, could be that person. People are saying that it's, and unironically saying that it might be Paul. Because
No
I think they just
way.
want it to be Paul.
Paul and Mary Jane are prominent side characters in that book.
Some
Oh,
people hope
they're
that
in
this
it
is
a
a way
lot.
to, like, remove Paul from the equation.
I mean, maybe. I mean, they've been writing, is that Al Ewing that's writing the other book still? Or
Ewing
who's...
is writing all new Venom.
Yeah, okay, so I don't know if you've seen the panels from this, but they be dunking on Paul a lot in this book. It's very satisfying.
Yeah, Ewing,
If you're a Paul hater, I think you will enjoy.
Ewing had his chance, like he took his shot, and he hasn't stopped taking the shots.
Yeah, he's like constantly just being like it's constantly Dylan being like, what's like wrong with you guys? Like, you guys are messed up, to like Mary Jane and Paul like all the time and just hating on their relationship. Obviously speaking for a lot of us fans and our feelings.
You know what this is leading to inevitably, though? You know that in like 5 or 10 years' time, there's going to be a whole new crop of people making videos about how Paul was overhated and, like, actually he was secretly the best character in the entire thing and nobody understood him.
I mean, my thing is that I do feel like, based on the way that even when I've read, I mean, obviously I haven't read all of Spider-Man or anything like that, but I have checked in here and there with certain series and certain issues. Every now and then I've read one-off things. And, you know, I understand why people don't like Paul in the greater scheme of the story. But Paul, just as a character, he's not like that bad of a guy. He's just a guy.
Would you say you're an apologist?
Oh, no. I would not say that, but I would say that I could definitely see where that happening, just because I don't think on paper Paul is really that bad. It's just, we were like gearing up towards Peter and MJ finally getting back together, and everything felt like it was building towards this like return of that great romance that we lost for so long. And people were like, oh my gosh, maybe it's gonna happen again. And then it was like all of our hopes were dashed. And so Paul represents that loss. Yeah.
Chemdog says that's appalling, Duck. I mean,
But
Carry it on.
oh, that's Carnage. That's cool.
The current Carnage design.
He needs a bow tie though. I think that would be cool.
Does he have a bow tie?
Bow ties are cool.
Oh, I've heard this one too. Yeah, Enzo is saying Paul being Mephisto is my headcanon.
I love that. Well, then we could say
That
that
would be
Paul
pretty
deserves all the hate. I think there will be no apologists in the future that will be coming out, because Mephisto is definitely a bad guy. Unless this is the way that through Paul, people are like, see, Mephisto isn't that bad. Because remember when he was Paul? Paul was all right or something.
I'm looking forward to seeing like the perception of everything years later, because now you're starting to see the people come out for like the New 52. And so I'm like, it's coming in the future. Like these things are coming down the pipeline.
It always comes back around. And I think the other thing that's interesting with comics is, because it's serial, I feel like there's always this like initial gut reaction to anything that happens, and then the story continues, and then also our feelings evolve over time.
But also there's the who's able to, you know, communicate their feelings at the time. Like bringing it back to like the Dick Tracy film, it's like there were a bunch of kids who watched the movie, were like, this is the best movie of all time, but it's like they weren't in a position to like write a review or say anything or like, you know, contribute to this. And now like years later you can be like, you know what, it was great and here's why. But before that, like sometimes you don't have a voice at the time, you know, in the discussion of things.
That's totally true. That like can also change. That definitely changes the narrative as time goes on and people find their space to like actually get to be vocal about their feelings, because you're only hearing from who you're hearing from too. And I mean, it also depends on like, you know, what circles even you frequent on the internet.
Yeah, because the internet is so many different spheres, despite the fact that we have all these centralized hubs like YouTube and TikTok. Even so, you can break it down into little micro communities and groups. So
yeah, and some people like to stick with like, I like this conversation, so like that's all I
and sometimes
consume.
It's not even an active choice. Like the algorithm will sometimes just lead you into like bubbles, and like unless you're a person who really actively uses the curate features, it's easy to stay there.
Yeah, unless you actually force the algorithm to like push like you outwards into other stuff, you will get stuck into. And I mean, it's happened to me where like that's like sometimes, you know, when you see a video and you're like, oh, I kind of want to click on that, but I know if I click on that, I'm then gonna have to accept that for the next like week, I'm gonna have to like retrain the algorithm, because now it's gonna give me a specific type of content.
All I get is,
and so I'll have to diversify my content again if I click this.
At this point, all I get is cooking, fighting games.
Oh yeah, a lot of my YouTube home is ASMR and lo-fi, but that's because that's what I usually listen to like while I'm working,
while editing or something. Yeah, I have lots of lo-fi because it's what I play while I'm editing, and also lots of cooking because I'm always looking up recipes and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where when I'm filming a reaction and then like a video pops up after, I'm like, oh boy, I hope it's not something weird. So I'm gonna be like, what is this that you watch?
Or white noise. Every single like white noise channel ever is constantly on my home.
Yeah, white noise is great though. This is, in case you guys were wondering if our homepages are all just a bunch of comics things, probably not.
No, it's a whole bunch of other content, because it's like when you deal with like comics all the time. Like oftentimes I find my free time, I'm like when I'm watching something, it's something else. It's, you know,
it's something that's not that, because otherwise literally every waking moment of every single day would just be like comics all the time, which sounds in some ways fantastic, but in other ways it sounds like from the ashes, and it sounds overwhelming to me.
Well, it's like with anything, you need a break to recharge your brain and like think. Like otherwise, you're just always in it, and the thoughts can't even come to the surface. You need that space.
I agree. I feel like sometimes I also find, like, even when we went to London for a few weeks, one of the things that I felt coming back was how excited I was to talk about things that I just hadn't talked about for a couple weeks. And like, it made me want to dive into comics even more. But sometimes I feel overwhelmed. And it's also like that thing of, especially having done it every day in a certain framework for years, sometimes I think about it and I feel like really just like daunted by it. And then it makes me question, like, what's going on? Is it that I don't want to talk about this? But it's really just like, no, it's just you've been talking about it a lot. So, like, maybe you just need a break from it so you can appreciate what you love about it. Too much of a good thing it becomes still a bad thing, I think.
Well, that's why it's important to take breaks, even if it's just like going out for like a walk around the block, or just like, you know, like looking at the outside, looking at grass, touching
the grass. Yeah.
You desperately need to do more.
I do. Well, I mean, it's hard because I also try to stream like 5 days a week, 6
You're
hours
a streaming
a day.
machine.
Yeah, I love
sun.
to stream. It's so
Just
fun.
Once a day, just see the sun.
Oh man. You know, I'm just hearing people talk about Damon Hellstrom in the chat, and I'm just like, what's up with Damon Hellstrom? Did you guys ever watch that Hellstrom show? I want to watch that.
I was
stuff.
going to at one point, but then it just fell down the list of priorities. I was like, this was a show that happened. And then I was like, eh.
Exact same thing happened to me. I was very excited because I was like, man, this is either going to be really good or this is going to be pure trash.
I don't know.
But it was also
How
around
was
the time
it?
as Gotham.
Who's watched
So I was like,
it in
anything
chat?
will be better than Gotham.
I'm
Gotham?
stuck with Gotham.
I mean, some people really love Gotham.
I know. No, I'm
What
just
do you
saying,
say to those
I was
people,
saying
Doc,
enjoy
who are in the chat?
Watch what you want to watch.
That's fair. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Watch what you want to watch. I haven't really watched Gotham. I've only watched a couple episodes
I'm
of
not
it.
the
But
authority on Gotham.
seems very dramatic.
Television show.
Speaking of Gotham, we still haven't finished Gotham Knights.
Oh, you didn't finish it?
No, I haven't finished it yet. Should I go back? Would you guys be here for my thoughts on Gotham Knights? I'm trying to get Sasha to watch it with me.
I know, that's
did you
why you're
watch
like,
it?
join us.
Join me so that I don't have to watch it alone.
You would give me summaries.
Well, I actually started to kind of like it by the time I left.
That's what scares me.
Why? There are things to like. I like Batman having an adopted son. I think that's interesting.
He has 3 of them.
Well, yeah, but I just mean like this
He
is
doesn't
completely
need more. He
new.
needs to be stopped.
He needs to stop
So now
adopting
he's
sons.
adopted a 4th and not told his actual biological son about it.
Yeah, well, you know, it's hard being Batman.
He's
Got a lot of sons. Because he's dead. Yeah. It's hard being Batman when you're dead, especially. Man, it's rough. Oh, they just undid. Did you hear about this, Sasha? They just undid it in the Arkhamverse. Have you been following any of the
Suicide Squad.
I've been
Suicide
following
Squad
people being
story.
incredibly disappointed and like upset with how everything unfolded in that universe and just all of it, and it being shut down and just like last season and all of that stuff. So
I mean, yeah, what did they say? 13 Brainiacs? Was that what we were supposed to get?
Supposed to get 13 seasons.
How many did we get?
4.
4. Okay, sorry, I thought we got 2, so that's better than 2. Yeah, I only played through the main game, but the recent thing is that they've basically established that the Justice League, I mean, spoilers for anyone that cares.
No one should play this game, so this is,
I assume
this is
no
a
one
spoiler
cares.
for no one.
But I don't see anyone in the comments being like, wait,
no, stop,
please don't. So basically, in this last season, I still need to watch it so I can react to it because I feel like I have to see this to believe this. They have established that the Justice League actually didn't die, which, granted, when everyone was freaking out about the Justice League dying,
they were clones.
they were clones.
Oh God,
you got it. Which, when people were like, I can't believe they would kill I'm like, guys, let's be real. They're not killing the Justice League. That's not happening in any reality.
Even if they did, I thought that'd be great. I was like, you know what?
I would rather that they did, because I was like, probably what they'll do is they'll undo it and it'll have no consequences. Except, you know, they kept one person dead. Can you guess who it is, Sasha?
Wasn't it Batman?
No. No, Batman's coming back to life. Batman's fine. He's good.
I was like, because I was
Didn't
like,
die.
that would justify the level.
Thank God.
Wonder
Woman's dead for real.
And no one
It's
cared.
so random.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, wow, we're back. Time to save the world, everybody. Nothing wrong here.
And Wonder Woman is like the one character in that game that I was like, man, I actually really feel for Wonder Woman. I actually feel like they're doing pretty good with Wonder Woman. And then they killed her, and I was like, oh, I thought maybe Wonder Woman might make it. This is really disappointing to me. I was actually really upset about that death. See, Batman's death was just, they did Batman dirty. I really didn't like what they did with it. So when they were like, yeah, Batman's back, I was like, oh, thank God. But then they were like, but Wonder Woman's really dead. I was like, oh, that's kind of disappointing, because even though I think she kind of got a good death, at least in it, she was actually a character I really cared about in it, and we've really never gotten... Basically, yeah. Like, what else have we gotten from Wonder Woman?
I just read that.
You got it, Bruce. Exactly.
Oh.
And no one cares, apparently. I can't wait to watch this ending and weep and just be like, what?
I don't know. It's like, I guess it was a mess consistently through the end. So it
was a consistent mess. It was there was a whole part where Brainiac near the end when I was playing it, and everyone's like, get ready, this is the worst part. I was like, how bad could it be? We've already seen some terrible things at this point. Brainiac freezes everyone and then like freezes time. And then, like, transports the Suicide Squad up to where he is, and then, like, has a whole monologue, and then you have to fight him. And I was like, but he could have just killed us. Why at any time didn't he just kill everyone?
Because
if he can control...
It's also established that before they were clones, that's how he captured all the members of the Justice League, was that he froze them in time and then... took them aboard.
Why is Wonder Woman even still fighting this guy? He could just freeze time and just kill her or whatever. Or take her and clone her or whatever he's doing.
Well, that's what happens when you have to do your retcon on the fly. Sometimes not everything lines up.
Would have been better if he just took the mask off. It was Paul.
Oh my god. I mean, admittedly,
crossover.
The weird thing is that, like, you know, that's part of the main story. So you get to that part of the story and you're like, what happened? Did they just, like, get to this part of the script and go, I don't know, just... put this in, who cares? And then you survive that fight too, and then he like teleports you away basically, and then you're just like, well, I guess we'll just go back to doing missions. And I'm like, will we? Because at any moment we could die. Like, why are we so chill about this?
It really is one of those moments where like, wow, that was weird. Anyway.
Yeah, that was weird. Anyway, let's pretend that didn't happen, because otherwise the plot holes in this story are too big to mention.
I couldn't play that game. I couldn't get through how frenetic all of like the action and like, did that ever change how like chaotic the screen was while you were fighting?
No.
Or was
it gets worse, I would say, actually. Yeah. The beginning, I found the beginning of the game, like the first, what would you say? Like the first third of that game, I was enjoying it. The first quarter of the game. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of fun with it, actually.
Up until what? The first major boss fight?
Yeah, the first major boss fight. So I guess that's the first, like, quarter of the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then after that, everything becomes repetitive. Everything becomes even more chaotic. And it's just, like, unless you have friends to play with, sometimes it just feels, like, kind of impossible. Like, I was enjoying playing Harley Quinn, so I just wanted to play Harley Quinn. But there are literally missions that, like... you can't do it as Harley Quinn. So, like, you gotta play, like, Deadshot, or you just won't be able to do this mission. And I'm like, but I don't want to play Deadshot.
We had an argument about this. I was like, the game is designed to
for you
swap
to
between
switch
characters because some people are better at certain things than other people. And you're like, well, I want to put this square peg in this circular hole.
I don't like that design, is basically what it came down
to. No, that's how they designed it. They designed it to swap into each.
Oh, so they were trying to encourage that everybody would go through.
Yeah, so that it would be like the idea is, I guess, you play all of the characters.
And you were like, well, that's stupid.
Or you have friends that you play with.
Quinn. And we had an argument over this.
I don't have any friends that play other than my community. That
I don't
some
even
people in
play.
my
I was like,
community
I just
played. That
watch.
was it. Yeah, no one played. Sasha has only played. Or have you played it, or have you just watched
because
how chaotic it is?
I couldn't get through. I was like, this will actually give me a headache. I'm like, if I play this, like,
Yeah.
it's just not going to be a good time for me.
It gave me a lot
So-
of headaches. So you
So I'm just
didn't miss
like-
anything.
No.
Sadly. Although I will say the part with Batman in the Batman Museum, that whole
That was
part,
the
that
coolest
part was
thing.
really cool. That's a good part.
Common sense. Thank you very much. There should have been a We Are Robin game instead of Gotham Knights. Seriously, play as Duke and the other Robins in the Warriors inspired game. You could do some fun spin-off content. The question is just how would you market it? Because like you do need the mainstream kind of like I see what they were trying to go for by making it the Suicide Squad, because there is still that idea that anything with Harley in it will, but I don't know how accurate that is, you know, anymore.
I feel like some
so-
people have Harley fatigue, so
They definitely, like, whenever I talk about her, that comes up. People are like, we don't care. But that's too bad because next month is the Fartacular.
The fart.
so-
Oh, we're getting that.
oh yeah.
We're getting like 5.
Oh my god.
You
I
gotta
can't
keep
believe
the
they're doing
Comes
it.
to press.
You hang them up in the bathroom.
I mean, admittedly, I haven't played the Gotham Knights game. I've only watched some of the Gotham Knights show.
Here's the thing.
But
Yeah, well, I was gonna say quickly, if you want to try Suicide Squad, if you have PlayStation Plus, it's free. That's
Yeah.
how much this game sold. It's free.
it's free. But also, I would say just play to the Batman Museum, and then that's the end of that game. Don't play anything else. That was the best part. And then you can just pretend that everyone gets saved and Wonder Woman lives and everyone lives happily ever after.
Let's do your
And-
fanfic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just write your own fanfic for
What's
that. It'll be
that
better
movie
than
where
the
it's like
story,
the longer
honestly.
you watch, the worse it gets, and like the two.
Craven?
I was gonna say it's two people who break into a house with a family, and they just keep doing more and more horrible things to the family.
Oh,
and
fun
Funny
and
games.
games? Funny games?
Funny games. Suicide Squad is the funny games.
It really
Oh.
is. It is that
video game.
experience.
The longer it goes, the worse it gets, and they constantly
it
look at
funny
you and they're
games?
like, "You can stop this at any time.
Yeah, funny games. That's a good movie.
Please, just don't make us do this to this family." And I said sure, and I turned it off,
I said, sure.
and I let Amanda play for the rest of the game.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, it is like that. You're just like, but it's kind of like a train wreck, so I kind of felt like compelled to finish it. And then
So
I
they
finished
got you
it.
the curiosity.
Mhm.
I just wanted to know where it was going, but then I got to the end and then I was like, that was really disappointing. And then they're like, by the way, there's 13 Brainiacs. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me with this. You're gonna have to go to all these realities
Don't
and fight
worry,
Brainiac.
13
again.
crazy new battle passes for you to sink your time into.
Kill me.
And then no one did.
No one did. Some people did. I'm sure some people had fun. And to you, all the power.
Oh.
Harley
midnight again?
fatigue.
It's midnight.
It
again.
is midnight again.
It's midnight again.
Yeah, funny games.
How
Everyone
long
knows
was
it.
this supposed to go on for?
Oh, we never have a supposed
We never have a time.
Oh, I see.
I say 11:30 just as like in case we finish early, but we usually go to midnight. Sometimes we've gone to past midnight and then we're
Yes.
like, what have we done? Why did this happen to us?
Yeah.
So yeah, usually I would say about 2 hours is the rough
That's pretty
estimate.
standard.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I feel like we've talked about a lot of things. Is there anything else that anyone wanted to discuss? We talked about a lot of X-Men. We talked about
We got to
MCU,
both
talked
our
about
thumbnails,
DC.
so I feel like we have not misled anybody.
We have
which
accomplished
makes me
that.
Feel good.
I can go through and put time codes and be like, this was the thumbnail. We did it. Carnage. I'm excited actually to read Carnage. I think I'm going to have to give
No,
that
you
one
did
a
a
read.
really good scenario. Like you made it sound really compelling. So
This is why I also said to Duck that he has to come back on because I'm like, when you're not here, people are like, what about Venom? Where's Duck? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not as well versed in Venom. I only know what Duck tells me and shows me. But the Carnage might be my jumping on point,
I'm
honestly,
good
into Venom.
Elevator pitch.
And I
Give me a
like
comic,
Charles
elevator
Soule.
pitch.
I need to go back and also read the Darth Vader stuff. I want to
he
read
also
that.
he just finished up his Ghost Rider stuff, right? So was that Charles Soule?
Oh, was he doing?
There's
Ghost
an
Rider?
indie comic that he's doing.
No,
I
it's
started
Percy,
reading
sorry.
the
Oh,
Lucky
what
Devils
is it?
actually.
Oh, Lucky Devil. You've been Lucky Devils.
Yes.
Yeah, I started Lucky
Mm.
Devils.
I read issue 1 and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've really liked what I've read so far. So
Is that with
I'm gonna keep up
Image?
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. I need to catch up
It's
on my
the
black
exact
cloak
same team who did 8
with Image.
billion genies.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to read that.
So if you like,
Oh, they had a special edition of that at SDCC last year, and I was so tempted to buy it. But I was like, this is such a big book. Like, I don't want to have to carry this in my suitcase, but it's so nice. It was like limited edition, like just for the con.
Hmm.
And I think Charles Soule was there maybe signing stuff. I don't know if I imagined this.
Why didn't you get it?
I don't
Now it
What?
haunts you.
Was it free as well?
know. It was
you just all the
100 and
things
something.
came with a
Yeah.
car.
I was very tempted by it. I'm sure it's in the vlogs from last year for SDCC. All right. Well, I guess we should.
We shall wrap it up.
We
Go to
shall wrap
bed.
it up.
Thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out and chatting comics. And we will, of course, get together again soon doing something. Whatever it is, we shall see. But the
Who
future
knows?
holds definitely more crossover stuff. So, as always, thanks so much to everybody. Have a good day, night, whatever it is. Thank you very much, Common Sense. I appreciate it, but we do need to get up. Otherwise, we'll be here till like 1 in the morning. But
I'm going to
thank
say
you.
Paul. I think Paul is the new Venom for sure.
Paul or MJ?
You're voting for
is the new
Paul.
Venom.
We'll play it up quickly.
Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul. What do you think, Sasha?
Paul or MJ, I think.
I like the idea. I think MJ's a bit more fun.
You like MJ, all right.
Than Paul.
Yeah,
All right.
That's what we got.
Yes,
So-
and happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah,
for
Happy
the-
Valentine's Day, everyone. Come join me. We're going to play Dream Daddy tomorrow. It'll be
Yes.
fun.
Ooh, fun.
Dream
That game's
Daddy.
so fun.
Yeah. All right.
right.
Have a good night, everybody. Stay nerdy.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.